The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which we'll determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project. But so far, nothing has been discovered that should, cause us to take action in court in terms of criminality.
Well, that's the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Akrotinge Ayene. He has announced what he described as the rumble in the jungle after the thriller in Manila, the imminent prosecution of the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab, and his wife, Faiza Said Wuni, for their alleged roles in an elaborate, as he described it, criminal enterprise that pilfered over 78 million Ghana cedis from state coffers. Now, the couple, as we have seen in very similar instances in this National Signals Bureau case, standing trial with his wife, as well as we've seen in this National Service Scandal case, you have Gift Yoweri Mensah and the husband named in one section or area of this entire, as the Attorney General described, a criminal scheme. We're seeing this play out in a similar fashion, that same template also playing out in this National Food Buffer Stock Company matter of stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, money laundering. He calls it the rumble in the jungle. It's by the Attorney General. Now he's giving details of the scheme. We will talk about it this morning here on Key Point. The most important question is the Attorney General convinced that he indeed will secure prosecution? There are those who still have questions about his motives of updating the public on these cases, and that some commentary he makes amounts to trying this case in public. Because in the end, these people will still have their day in court. Until then, what does the Attorney General have to say and not have to say? It's a conversation we'll have this morning because it never seems to go away. But then again, the public, in the view of the Attorney General, needs to know, because this oral promise was anchored on public confidence. 9 months and over on, the oral is yet to deliver any prosecution. Well, Attorney General has been responding to the calls for the speedy trial in these oral cases. Stay with us, we'll have a conversation, because we have a member, in fact, we have two members of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team joining us this morning. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has also earlier this week dismissed the allegations that it has indeed failed to cooperate with this Attorney General's office. The Attorney General indeed also came out to reiterate the collaboration between the two offices. But there's one thing that's outstanding, the fact that Kenneth Nanaya Oforiatta is still not back from the United States. In fact, this Office of Special Prosecutor described the claims of not cooperating with the Attorney General's office as misleading and factually inaccurate. Issued a clarification, but then, for the minds of many people who are watching us this morning, question is, will the trial in absentia that some persons have proposed, including some of my guests who will be joining me this morning, Martin Pebu, Kofi Bento, that look, if he's taking long in coming back, start the process in absentia as against the sentiments of the public that we want to see him physically go through this. Where will the chips fall? We'll have a conversation this morning on Key Point. But he's still on the Interpol red alert, by the way. We checked the website last night. We'll show you this morning. We'll find out exactly what is happening with the Attorney General and the Office of Special Prosecutor. Because if you recall, the Special Prosecutor's Office said they were going to furnish the Attorney General with the said documents that have been outstanding for the past 2 months. They will give it to the AG's office this week, before the end of the week, right? So we'll get an update on that this morning. So stay with us here on Key Point. We're still mourning. Today is day 2 of the 3 days of mourning of the passing of Nana Konadu Ajuman Rawlings, the first Lady of the Fourth Republic, the longest serving First Lady of the Republic of Ghana, and a towering figure in our politics that we cannot forget. She's earned her place in our history, and we would give her that reverence this morning. So, you'll see my guests all complementing the mood of the nation in mourning. We'll have poll tracker right after this quick break, so stay with us. Musa Dankwa is joining us after this quick break. He has a message from the NPP delegates that he polled in the latest poll that he released just about 24 hours ago. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Welcome. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on 3FM 92.7 and a number of radio stations across the country. We're also on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the city of London, the Voice of London television. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. We're zooming straight into the poll tracker. Welcome.
In the beginning,
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back. This is Keep On TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. This is the poll tracker. This segment of the show is a data-driven conversation where you can follow every step of the way with the most verifiable data, publicly verifiable data that you can find. This is the latest from, it's a message, the latest message from NPP delegates from the poll that Musa Dankwa conducted to the 5 persons who want to lead the party going into the 2028 elections. Very interesting development in this poll that was put out just about 24 hours ago. But even before we get into it, 63 out of 87 NPP MPs in this parliament this week declared their support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Well, a few of them who addressed the press, but they say that 63 of them, in fact, they put out a list of all 63. None of them have come out to dispute that why is their name on that particular list. So we take it that their silence in this instance means that they are indeed consenting to their names being on the said list. 63 of them. And they addressed the press this week. Take a look.
Engagement is to put it in the public domain. The minority members of parliament who are supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's project to become the flag bearer of the new patriotic party for the 31st January 2026 flag bearership election. With me here are some members of the team of MPs that are supporting Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It's not everybody who is here. Others are engaged in committee meetings. Others have traveled. But the leadership of Bawumia's team in all the regions are here with me. Dr. Bawumia is a leader who respects our history, yet reimagines our future. He has walked with the new patriotic party through every season of victory and challenge, serving faithfully, defending our record, and carrying our message with conviction and grace.
Oh, same. It was flanked by quite a number of them. Hassan Tampoli, Samia Wuku, Kwabena Chiremensa. They're all in there. The Takrady Member of Parliament, the former regional minister, for that matter. And some very interesting names in there, making up the 63. But this latest poll from Musa Dankwa, that polled a number of the NPP delegates, 2,643. Because he has a confidence level. He says he's confident, 99%. That's his confidence level. And if you look at this 2,643 sample size, this is how it was spread across all 16 regions. We'll put it on the screen. And in fact, the Greater Accra region has the highest share of the delegates that were polled, 527, followed closely by the Ashanti region, 473. We've had this conversation as to why the Greater Accra region always has a chunk of the respondents to surveys that Musa Dankwa does, and rightly so. The Greater Accra region is critical and crucial to outcome of elections in this country, the economic hub of the country, and we go into elections in this country. It's all about the economy, the bread and butter issue. So you want to test the pulse of the people in the heart of the economic heartbeat of the nation, Greater Accra region. Ashanti region follows because that's the stronghold of the MPP. You have quite a number of them as well, the delegates responding to this survey. Eastern region 243, and then it follows in that order, with the Savannah region having the least of respondents. It's the least of respondents in there. But you think about it, that's the home region of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. It's a very interesting picture that you see. on this delegates, national delegates poll tracking by Global Info Analytics, 2,643 of them with a confidence level of 99%. Musa Dankwa is the global lead researcher for the Global Info Analytics. And he's joining us on Zoom because he is doing the Lord's work outside Ghana. Mr. Dankwa, good morning.
Good morning to you, Alfred.
I hope all is well where you are.
By His grace, we're doing very well. Thank you.
Perfect. You are saying that you are 99% confident that if elections were held today amongst that's the NPP delegates going to the polls to elect their flag bearer, the outcome of this, your latest poll, will be reflective of what will be the case at the end of the day.
Alfred, thank you very much for having me. Largely so, with the exception that you would have to assess the voting intention of those people who are saying they are undecided and those who say they will not disclose, so that the outcome of the actual election will reflect the analysis. But so far, what we are saying is that if you do a poll in the MP primary today, those who will openly say they are voting for A or B, Mahmoud Bawumia is on 44%.
I see. And this is what you talk about, right? Who would you vote for to lead NPP in 2028? This is the straight question you asked them. The respondents, 44%, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Kennedy Ohenia Japan, 19%. And then Dr. Brian Echampong, 5%. And then you have the others, 1%, 1%. Kwabena J. Japan and Dr. Yause Aduchum. But what is interesting here is not the headline, figures that you give to them, the percentages that you give to them. It is the growing bracket of undisclosed and undecided voters. I mean, I still struggle to put my mind to why we continuously have this huge percentage of undecided and undisclosed delegates. What does that mean? First of all, let's establish the distinction between undecided and undisclosed. What does it mean?
Right. If a delegate say he's not disclosing, it means that he has made up his mind about who he intends to vote for, but he doesn't want to tell us for one reason or the other. And even though it is high, in the same poll we did about 2 years ago during the last primaries, that number was about 19%. Because at the time, the MPP was in government and the incumbency whip was whipping, the people were scared. Now, though they are saying they will not disclose, the level of not disclosure has reduced drastically. Still, a bit of incumbency issues there. And we believe those people are largely Kenyan voters. But those who are not decided or who are saying that they are undecided, they are genuinely, or some one reason or the other, telling us that they are not decided. They are still waiting to hear from the candidate to hear their messages before they decide. So those are the people who will actually decide the election, the undecided.
The undecided is actually the crucial bracket we need to be looking at, in your view. Those are the people you say they will decide the outcome of the elections. This 15%, the 15% undecided.
Absolutely, they will.
I see. And why is that?
Because look, if you can add those who are not disclosing, about 95% of them will vote for Kennedy at Japan. So if you add that number to Kennedy, he will probably be around 34, 33, thereabout. And Bawumia will be on 44 or 45. Then you decide, how is this 12% or this 12 or 15%, 15%, where would they head to? If they head Kennedy in a landslide, Kennedy will win. But if they go to Bawumia by a small proportion, he wins. So Kennedy has a lot more work to do to take him over the 50% plus one that Bawumia does.
I see. Because if clearly they are all below the 50%. So that if things remain this way, then that's why you went ahead to test the pulse of a runoff if there's a runoff. Because as things stand now, nobody is above 50%. And,
No.
and if you say that a chunk of the undisclosed voter bracket of 15% that most of them you say are Ken supporters, you stand by that? That this 15%
Yes, I think
undisclosed,
so.
the number of them are Kennedy Ohene Japan supporters.
Yes. This is because if you look at what we did in the last election, the MPP primaries, almost or nearly all those people who were saying they are undecided went for Kennedy. So if we add that number of undecided at the time plus what Kennedy got in the poll, that gave Kennedy 37%. And we are seeing the same pattern happening.
I see. And if all things being equal, that 50% is added to the 19. It gives him, I mean, just for the benefit of analysis,
34%.
an appreciable, percentage, one that he can hang on to some level of hope, because that will push him to 34%.
34%. But he should have been probably around 38% if it wasn't for Brian Achampong, Kobina J. Japan, and Edichum. Those numbers that had gone to Brian Achampong and the other candidate could have gone to Kennedy Japan.
I see. But here's where the big story is. I mean, for me, the big takeaway in this latest, because this 44% that you put out is actually a reduction, right, in the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia allocation or the persons who said they would vote for him if elections were held. In September, when you did the poll, the respondents, 47% of them said they would vote for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia if elections were held, right, in September. 1 month on, it reduced by 3% to 44%. And Kennedy Japan is gaining 2% out of the 3 and is inched from 17% to 19% 1 month on. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has lost 3%, 47% to 44% 1 month on. Did you drill down this data to find out what's working against Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
No, before we go to that, you have to go back and see where did Dr. Bawumia's 3% reduction go to? And where did Brian Achampong and Kennedy got their 2% from? Bawumia's number that he lost did not go to Kennedy or Brian. They went to undecided. So they pushed up those who are undecided for Bawumia, it goes up. But then Kennedy's support came from those who were also saying not decided. So he gained a bit from undecided, and Bawumia lost a bit to undecided. Now, if it had gone to Kennedy directly from Bawumia, then you can see or say that Bawumia is under threat from this candidate. At the moment, his numbers are moving from his column to undecided, whereas Kennedy's gains are coming from those who are boldly declaring their intention now, who are getting the numbers from him.
No, so in fact, I was going to ask that question, and the answer you're giving to the that last statement you made, because if Kennedy Japan is not gaining from Bawumia's loss, or none of the other 4 are gaining from the loss of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but then we see Brian Achampong go up by 2%, Kennedy Japan go up by 2%. Where are they getting all of that from?
Those who were not disclosing before are now disclosing for them.
So, I see. They now have the confidence to come out to say, this is the person I'm voting for.
Yes, it's because one MPP is not in government. That's why those who are not disclosing, the number has reduced compared to the last election.
I see. But this runoff picture also still doesn't answer the question of solving the runoff puzzle, because there's still not any one of them going beyond 50%.
No. You can see that Bawumia is around 46% in the runoff, and Kennedy goes up a bit. But at the same time, as I said, if you add those undisclosed to Kennedy, he is still not above 50%. So again, those who are undecided will decide. And from that point, Bawumia is in a very good shape. He only needs 4% or 5% to cross above the 50% plus 1. Kennedy needs a lot more.
I see. How do would you respond to already those who have started putting questions up to this poll that, it's you're giving a very inconsistent picture. That's one of the reactions to this latest poll 24 hours on. Why are you doing that?
No, we're not giving anything inconsistent. I mean, if they compare our polls to other polls, then they have a case to make for why is our poll different from what others are showing. We have been truthful to our self-examination, and we've been portraying the pictures as we are told. Look, to assess whether a poll is consistent, you don't have to compare that poll to other polls. Compare that poll to itself. There are other dynamics we've shown in the data. That is consistent. If you look at those who voted for Kennedy in 2023 presidential primaries, only 70% are doing so for him again. But if you compare Baumia's numbers to those who voted for him in 2023 election, he's getting 72%. So there is internal consistency. If you look at those who have switched camp from Baumia to Kennedy and Kennedy to Baumia, the figures are also telling. So the poll has internal consistency. You shouldn't compare our poll to others.
I see. Well, Mr. Dankwa, stay with me because I have Dr. Joshua Zato with us in the studio. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Political Science Department. He had the ambitions of representing the MPP in the Sisala East constituency at some point. He says he graciously lost, but he is not giving up on that dream as yet, as far as I do know. Dr. Zato, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning to you, Alfred. Good morning. And good morning to see you again, Musa. And good morning, Martin. Yeah, just before that, I need to say, today is the birthday of Sir John Buedu. John Buedu was the former national organizer and general secretary.
John Buedu?
John Buedu. Yes,
right.
of the New Patriotic Party.
Right.
Happy birthday to you, General, today. You served your party with distinctions and with excellence. You served your country to the best of your ambitions. I wish you the very best for yourself today. There are a lot of young people in Ghana, young politicians looking up to you, learned a lot from you, are still hoping to learn a lot from you. Enjoy your birthday, General, and I wish you the very best today. Thank you, General. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
You zoom in. Let me acknowledge the presence of Martin Pebu, is also a private legal practitioner, a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team. They've wrapped up their work, but their work is on the table for discussion this morning. And as expected, he is draped in black, but with style.
It's a categorified trouble for me. Yes. So we are all mourning, right?
Indeed.
May Nana Kunedu Ajima Rawlings so rest in perfect peace. God knows best. So we wish the family the strength, the courage, and everything it takes for them to go through these difficult times. Right. Yeah, so Mr. Ocansey, as usual, let me do a few of the rituals. Number one, we want to, as usual, remind men above 40 to go do the prostate cancer test, the PSA. Yes, because as I've told you, we've lost too many men who should have known better, should have tested earlier, and they didn't. So please, men above 40, if you spend about 1,200, you'll be good. You get a test done, you know what has to be done. The doctors will take good care of you. Don't stay till it's too late, right? Then secondly, the audit service, they are doing some audits in the schools and colleges and the district assemblies. This year, the audit service, please, we are watching. Last year in the Upper East region, there were allegations of, massaging the reports, bribery here and there, and then eventually it turned out that we couldn't get the hardcore evidence. But you see, once those kind of stories came out, it's implanted in our heads. So if you Google, you will find those stories that contributions for auditors scandal. Ghana Audit Service demands explanation from GES director. Media Without Borders. So it was a story that broke last year, etc. So please, Audit Service, make sure you do a very good job. Especially we are watching in the Upper East region. Media Without Borders, Gatti. He'll be watching. They are doing private investigations. So if you don't do the work well, there will be trouble. This time with hardcore evidence. Okay. Yeah, so once again, we want to thank Domahine, Sofa Kufu, former Chief Justice, Togbe Afede, and Kinteki Tekutru II, for stepping up and for speaking truth to power when it was very unpopular to do so. A lot of statesmen chose to be quiet. They wanted to find favor with the Kufuor government, and today you see how history is proving you wrong. But these four valiant and gallant Ghanaians stood tall, and so we'll continue to laud them for what they've done. We are not saying they are angels. They also have their personal faults, but we have to laud the positive side. That's how we build society. So those who keep sending me private messages that this person did this, especially for Sophia Kufu, they say, oh, she led the removal of Charlotte Osei, etc. Yes, that was then. At least now we've upped the game. We've upped the game. So we are all making progress. It's what do you call it? Work in progress. And then, of course, let's mention the 52.5 billion matter that Kofi Afulu has reported to the OSP. OSP, we are waiting. We hope that you get to the bottom of the matter. Right. Because how can 52.5 billion, 52.5 billion Ghana cedis disappear from GCB account to unknown sources? And then more than 4 years on, Auditor General, you can't give an account, and yet you are there with Jemima running the show single-handedly without the board functioning well. Come on, you know. Okay, and then of course, Kofi Afulu, who did the report, now he's been made board chairman of, is it FIC? So Kofi Afulu, congratulations. We hope you do a good job there. Do a good job. Okay, all right.
It's important, and I thank you, Lawyer Martin Kwebo, for this as well. But then again, this is what we're talking about. And Mr. Dankwa, before I get to Dr. Joshua Zato, you have 63 out of the 87 NPP MPs coming out to declare their support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I mean, that's instructive, is it not? I mean, that is not to say that all the delegates in their constituencies will vote for who they have declared their support for, but it's an instructive development, at least for the optics, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You must have a command of the parliamentary caucuses of your party. And once you get that and it's genuine, I mean, it gives you a bit of oomph. These MPs have their own followers, they have their own connection. They will be able to help their campaign in reaching out to their own constituents, even when the candidates are not in those areas. So it helps.
Dr. Zato, this is a very interesting development, is it not? I mean, because now the big takeaway is that 3% loss, quote unquote, for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia if elections were held today. He's explained why. But then again, looking at how things have played out from at least the last 1 month, 3% is enough to change the dynamics, isn't it?
Thank you very much, Alfred, and once again, thank you to our viewers. And good morning, Musa. I like polls, especially when we are in a political season. These polls enable us to engage in a more scientific analysis and discussions of things. The polls allow us to sometimes keep away the noise, the chatter, and then focus on data and see how that data is able to help us to make more intelligent and scientific-based analysis. And so far, looking at this data, it goes to reinforce something that is very clear. The data clearly supports the fact that His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will win the NPP primaries emphatically. The data clearly shows that he is in that sweet spot where he hopes to be in, where his supporters are not too ambitious, over happy, and become complacent, and then they are not also in a bad place where they give up. He's in that sweet spot where he wants them to be, that they are fired up, they are energized. And the data clearly shows that. I will tell you why. If you go back to 2023 and see the last time Musa Dakwa did a similar survey, you can ask yourself, where was His Excellency Dr. Bawumia 3 months to the NPP primaries? You can ask yourself the same question. And I have the tracking analysis here. In September what's the name? Of 2023, 3 months to the November primaries, Dr. Bawumia was around the same time, around 44%. 3 months to the NPP primaries the last time. Dr. Bawumia was around the same time or the same figure. 2, 3 months to the NPP primaries in 2023, the same figures, undecided and undisclosed, were almost similar. Undisclosed, non-disclosed was 14, undecided was 18. So similar figures, that's almost 30% similar. 3 months to the, this was actually a month to the primary. So similar figures, similar trend.
But there are a number of things that are different.
I know, but I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. So now you can do trend analysis. You can look at what were the figures last time, and are they telling the same story to them? Say yes.
But I was saying that the situation is different now. No. Because if you look at what you're referring to in the run-up to the flag bearer race in 2023, you were in power at the time, in government. Now you are in opposition.
Yeah.
That is a major development that influences outcomes.
Yes, it doesn't matter, but that doesn't still mean that it doesn't mean that the data. I'm just talking about the data that we had.
Okay.
We can always interpret data differently. You can interpret it differently. But I'm saying that I'm just basing on the data that Musa Dakwa had the last time before the primaries and the data that he had today. And I'm saying that with the data that he had in the 2023, the undecided and the non-disclosed was almost 30%, almost like it is today. But what happened on voting day? They broke. Almost 80% of that broke for Dr. Bawumia to give. No, I'm saying that was what happened. And if you're not reading the trends, you will not begin to realize that similar things going to happen. Especially because, again, if you listen to him, he's saying that the places where the people that have not disclosed, not disclosed and listen, they are not moving to any other candidate. It's not as if one candidate is benefiting from that less story. They are moving to undecided. Then we ask ourselves, the last time, what happened to that undecided? The last time, that undecided broke heavily for the leader. And there's a reason why. Mostly, voters are aspirational. Nobody wants to lose their vote or nobody wants to throw away their votes. So voters tend to vote for the person that they believe is in front, is leading. That is what I'm saying, that if you look at the trends in the global info analytics survey last time in this primaries, and yes, I have both. And then if you look at the same here, you will come to the conclusion that based on the way all the figures are moving, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia is in the commanding lead, he's in the safe lead, and that he's on roll to go and win the primaries come January 31st. That is what the data is showing us, and that is what is there.
Mr. Dankwa, would you stick out your neck emphatically to as it were, support this position by Dr. Zato?
Look, the data is very clear that nothing has changed between now and 2023. And if you look at it that closely, not much has changed. And he's right to say that the undecided broke heavily towards Bawumia in the last election. And those who were not disclosing went entirely to Canada Japan. If that logic still applies, then we will be in for another election. But because we have other candidates who are doing better than those last time, we expect the numbers to be slightly different. But based on this data, Bawumia is on top and likely could win the primaries.
Who will be looking over his shoulders on what is happening, and what you have just said is Abraham Amaleba, his private legal practitioner. He heads the National Road Safety Authority, and the thick of things ahead of the 2024 elections for the NDC. Council, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Alfred.
This must be sending some shivers down your spine, huh?
About what?
About
that somebody's making 45% in his own primaries. And you say that should be sending shivers. I think that instead of fighting the statistics, like my brother here is doing, the MPP should rather, and for that matter, the flag bearer aspirants should rather focus on their campaigns and leave these statistics to speak for themselves. But on the ground, they can change things rather than appearing to be fighting what Dankwa is doing. I think that there's no need to fight statistics. What you can do is to meet the delegates and turn over things. If Bawumia is doing 45%, or is it 44%, it speaks bad of his campaign.
That's amongst the 2,643 delegates.
No, somebody who had the backing of the the establishment in the last elections should now be doing 44%, it's a clear indication that, but for the establishment the last time, he couldn't have even won the elections. That's how you look at it.
Really?
He had the support of the establishment the last time. This time, he's doing 44 without the establishment, and you think that it is good? It's not good.
So that's how you interpret this data that you are seeing?
Yeah, look at the man's campaign last time. He was flying.
What do you mean by he was flying?
He was the favorite of the establishment. That's what I meant by he was flying. You get my point? Today, there's no establishment behind him. And he's struggling with 44%.
That's just not true. You don't even know that. You don't even have the data.
He's struggling with 44%.
Have you seen the data?
If you are a front runner, check. All those who are front runners, they make above 50%. You got my point? So if you have a 44% today, it is not good for Bawumia.
Well, Dr. Zato thinks otherwise. This is a clear reflection. You had Musa Danko as well. He's in commanding lead. If things remain this way, that's all things being equal.
Let me help Abraham. You don't understand the data. One, I'm just telling you.
I don't want you to help me. Don't help me here.
I'll help you.
It is my time.
You need help.
You were talking when I came.
When you realize
restrain him. Restrain him. Restrain him. I don't need your help. You made convoluted arguments here.
Hold on.
You make convoluted arguments here.
Help him. Say he doesn't need. So
I don't need your help.
Okay.
Now look at 15% undecided, and look at 15% undisclosed. Normally, these figures, if they finally make up their mind, will not go to the front runner. You get me? So the front runner, who is at 44% now, which is Dr. Bawumia, is a bad testament for him.
Thank you. You see, what he just said, that is just wrong. That is not, myself and Musa, we just concluded that. In the last time, this was where Bawumia was sitting, 44, in 2023, even with the establishment. At the end of the day, this undisclosed on this, they broke for him by over 70%. That was what happened the last time. That was a trend analysis. So that's what I'm saying. Let me teach you something. They say where he was last year is where he is today. And the data for the last time told us that 3 months after the election, he was around 44. He ended up winning over 60%.
Okay.
And the same figures. And 3 months after the election, undecided, undisclosed was also almost 30%, just like they are today. So Musa, we just agreed with Musa Dako that in fact, if you look very well, you see that the numbers and they are just replicating themselves. That's the way they were. And how did they finally end? That's the way you read statistics. You look at what it was, and then you look at where it is going, and then you then come to understand that Musa Dako made a point, and that is the point. Almost all the undisclosed, a good number of them were government appointees. So they didn't want to come, and they wanted to keep this air of what? Neutrality. That's my argument.
Okay.
If you look at today,
that's your argument.
Yes. Almost all of them.
Okay.
Almost all of them have now come, are now eligible to vote. But most of them are still. Some of them are former regional ministers, former MCs. They still hold government positions. So some of them still want to keep this veneer of but the history and the track record and the transition tells us that clearly, Dr. Bawumia, if this even stays like that, he's going to do at least the 61% again. That's the minimum. And that is what statistics show. So you don't understand the statistics. You've not done this. You can't come to that conclusion. That conclusion you had was what?
Okay, well, you know what? You have a different view.
Look.
Okay, so
look.
I'll come to you. You have a different view. It doesn't necessarily mean that his understanding of it is warped.
Okay, it's not warped. But there's
because of
Agree.
intellectual discourse, you don't discredit with those words.
Agree.
You'd want to withdraw that, right?
Sorry, withdraw. But here's the statistics.
Thank you. All right. No, I think point of view, please.
It is warped logic.
You have also just...
I'll give him his own dose.
No. He has just withdrawn that.
It is warped logic to think that you have a superior argument.
Ramalaba, just for some decorum here, he just withdrew that. Let's go on that same path and don't digress. So let's
take your things away from you.
Look, just make your point.
The point is that Dr. Bawumia, as a front runner, shouldn't be doing 44%. That's my argument. Whether it was in the last elections or these elections, Bawumia, as a front runner, shouldn't be doing 44%. Because Bawumia had all the support, from the establishment. Today, if Baumia is doing 44%, I feel that he's not a favorite for the people. Now, I heard Dankwa when I was coming in saying that if the undisclosed and the undecided votes massively for Kennedy Ajapong, then he can upstage Baumia. You heard that? You heard what he said on that?
Yes.
So I am saying that as we see it today now, as we are looking at the figures now, it is not yet Uhuru for Baumia.
Okay.
That's my point.
Well, but that's your view, okay? Dr. Zato also has his own view that in reading the statistics through his lenses, it's an emphatic win for Dr. Baumia. You're entitled to your own views. But Mr. Dankwa, who is responsible for what we are even debating, I'll come to you on it because your position has been quite consistent over the last few weeks. Can it be said, Mr. Dankwa, that the undisclosed 15%, majority of them could be former government appointees? That position that Dr. Zato espoused, which is his view, let me be emphatic on that. Would it be consistent with your findings?
No, that is not correct. These people are polling station executives. They are not government appointees. They account for about 90% of those who are going to vote. We didn't interview the government appointees at that level. So what you are hearing or what you are seeing in numbers are people who are at the very, very bottom of the party and not appointees.
At least beyond this, what we are seeing, you saw some MPs come out to declare support for Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. It means that he even though it's below 50%, you can't discount the impact and influence he's having, is it not?
At all, no, we can't discount it. We can't discount it. The figures hardly lie. So at 44%, well, what surprises me, and I've said it ad nauseum, but they are tone deaf. They should have seen that the last election speaks volumes. That's even putting it mildly. We should be using a stronger term. Maybe I'll get it. A man who went to the elections and got 41-point-something%, right? And the context is that he had supported President Kufuor to unleash terror, famine, death, so much misery on Ghanaians. Such a candidate doesn't appeal to the voter. You see, what we should be looking at is, do you have a candidate who appeal to floating voters like me? That is where they should be looking at. And so this one is like they are tickling themselves and laughing. Baumia won't appeal to floating voters. No.
The large floating voter population.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
if you look at it, it's actually the floating voters who decide elections.
Exactly. You see, you take it roughly that each party has about 45%. You see, even this time, Baumia did less. He got 41-point-something. So some MPP members even drifted this across, right? I mean, because largely, I'm happy that we see a political science, when they teach you generally, they will tell you that, look, each of the two biggest parties has roughly about 45%. So generally,
now come down a bit
it's
to
changing.
40% now.
So
but even that is contested.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the register of both MPP and NDC, they don't have 2 million on over-registered.
Yes, not everybody wants to be registered.
Precisely.
Not
so they will have people who would be
service.
associated with the party, but not known members.
Yes, because of
party.
their jobs most
Those
of the time.
You need to make that distinction.
Yes, so we are not talking about registers. No, the registers don't tell the full story, but we look at the election results. The two biggest political parties roughly sharing about 40, I mean, like taking about 90% of the voter population, right? So you have roughly the small parties and then those floating voters, about 10%, roughly. We're saying roughly. I mean,
it could be more than that, roughly.
Yes.
Then you see that bracket is expanding.
It's expanding.
The floating voter bracket.
Exactly. And so that is what the MPP should be looking at. So I keep telling you, I don't know how you can say they are fielding Baumia for, I mean, if he wins. It's just like giving NDC a cheap victory. Very cheap.
Really?
It will
That's
be a
what you
walk in
think?
the park.
That's your view?
Oh, yeah. It will be a walk in the park. Look, last week I said it well, people say it was too strong when I said Baumia would never be president of Ghana. I was just saying it as it should be said because it's so glaring that with the kind of economic mismanagement Baumia can't stand for himself. He's not a principled man.
Why do you say that?
Let me show you. The NDA, common NDA, Baumia comes from the north. Look, the time I just saw that Baumia is spineless is that Baumia, you come from the north. NDA, Professor Anamzoya, then Dr. Anamzoya wrote to you that, look, people are stealing funds from NDA. Your own north, where you come from, they are stealing funds from NDA. Baumia did nothing. Anamzoya was just lucky that somehow he found me, and then I took the case to the OSP. Today, the 4 persons are before court. At least OSP is done very well. We've crossed the prima facie stage, so now they've opened their defenses.
Right.
We've not said they are guilty. Nobody can say so. It's the judge who will say so. But we are within our rights to say that our money was leaving for unlawful purposes. So we're eventually going to take about 21 million. So nobody's pronouncing guilt, but we're saying that where it was going, the contracts had been overinflated, etc. And then you remember Rosemont, the lady who worked with Baumia. Rosemont, is it Apia or something? The lady who, a few days to the elections, she came out, she went to Baumia. Said Baumia can't stand firm. Anything they come, he tries to please everybody. And like they say, if you want to please everybody, then go sell ice cream. If you want to please everybody, go sell ice cream. So look, for me, the core thing is that once MPP came into power and Baumia couldn't deliver that economic magic, they said they would transform the economy within 18 months. What did Baumia think he was doing when he kept echoing that 18 months? And was it rocket science? All it took was for us to what? Ramp up agriculture. Yes, they brought planting for food and jobs, but it's not sufficient. Okay. It's not sufficient to cause that transformational change. And look, this structure of our economy has been there for decades. Though, yes, now services, over a decade now, services is bigger. It's bigger. It's the biggest chunk. But you can't run away from the fact that if you want to transform the Ghanaian economy, agriculture is pivotal because, look, we spend billions on what? Food, rice, oil, poultry. You see the Nkukon Kitinkiti project that the current government has introduced. That's a Feed Ghana. We hope with years it will do something. So please, the current administration too has to watch because they say they are doing Feed Ghana. They have to make sure that they put in enough resources to transform. Because
so that's one of the areas which will influence your vote in 2028?
Yes. But one thing too is very clear. Yes, economy, democracy, etc. Yes, I'll be very rational, is the performance. But so far from the track records, where Baumia is coming from, he's way behind. I don't know, because he's in opposition now. So I don't know what he can do to, overturn his own figures. So that's why the logic is that unless this current government performs worse than the Akufo-Addo Baumia administration, Baumia can't be president. And then by 2032, he'll be too old. 69, 70. We are not going to take chance. You see the Gen Zs, we want fresh blood. We want fresh blood. You consider yourself as Gen Z? Baumia, using Baumia for 2028, it doesn't add up because he doesn't stand a dog's chance. He doesn't stand because the figures they have, the economic mismanagement they unleashed on Ghanaians, that's why he'll be taken to 2028. So he's so tainted, he's not sellable. Baumia is not sellable.
Well, you make that forceful point, but it still remains your view. Right.
But it's reflected in the elections. You see the 1.6 million votes difference. It tells you that they did far worse than JM did. Let's not forget, in 2016, we threw out JM. We're very clear that JM didn't qualify. He didn't have the necessary credentials to be president. Little did we know that we're going to have a worse set of candidates. That's Akufo-Addo and Baumia. So much so that now JM looked like an angel. So for JM to look like an angel and to win the 2024 election, that tells you the extent to which MPP sank this country. So they sank us because remember 2016. We're very clear that no, JM cannot leave this country. The same thing we're saying, no, we said this man is not qualified. This is Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana. We need men of stature, men who have, beaten a path, men who have succeeded in life, and Akufo-Addo appeared to be that person. No, it was all a hype. We brought in Akufo-Addo. Baumia made a few speeches. Like they say, talk is cheap. Now they say walk the talk, he couldn't walk. So if you want to see the extent to which MPP sank us, it's in one sentence. JM, who in 2016 looked very horrible, very bad, now look like an angel.
Okay. Well, Dr. Dato, two things. That in the view of Lawyer Martin Kpebu, does it reflect a certain constituency of people that the only way the MPP will stand a chance, that's with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, is when this administration performs extremely worse than what they did. Than what you left us. So then that it would legitimize the comeback.
Thank you.
Essentially.
I want to look at it. Sometimes, Matt, you say, we will not bring you and who? Matt, you have one vote, I have one vote, I have one vote. So say, I will not. And everybody knows, nobody expects you to vote for Bawumia. Nobody. And nobody expects you to advocate for him. So say, I will not. You used to say, we will not. It does, look, America just voted for an 80-year or 79-year-old vote. So if you say we the Gen Zs, you whom? And Donald Trump won the Gen Z vote. So say I will not vote for him. Everybody knows. Nobody expects to vote for him. That is one thing. Two, you said something about agric. I'm happy you started there. Last year by this time, in Tumu, my hometown of Tumu, where we produce the best maize in Sisala land. If you sold one bag of fertilizer, maize, you can buy one bag of fertilizer. That was a fact. Today, you need at least 2 bags of maize to buy one fertilizer. What is the economic improvement there? What's the benefit there? So if you go and talk to farmers now, the economy that they left, is better than, in fact, not only that, if you go to Tumuna, there's a glut of maize in Sisala land, they can't get anybody to buy. So if you start with agric, that agric, whatever it is, it was better, the agric economy was far better than the current economy they have too. There's also this theory wrong about the fact that the voting patterns depend upon how good or bad the government performs. In 2008, J.A. Kufuor had performed a miracle for this country. He took a HIPIC economy, and by the time J.A. Kufuor was leaving office, the economy was considered a middle-income economy. He performed excellently, every indicator. All the best social interventionist policies we have in Ghana now were introduced by J.A. Kufuor. Name them: school feeding, mass transport, cocoa spraying, all of them. Mass. He did some mass cocoa spraying. What I'm saying, I'm making a point.
Yeah,
Almost all the
big, you were listing
all the best social interventionist policies that this country started. NIA, National Institute.
I want to take out the cocoa spraying.
Okay, to take it out
because that was there.
Metro mass. I'm talking about metro mass. I'm talking about school feeding. I'm talking about national health insurance. These are the bedrocks of the social intervention policy we have today. Kufuor introduced that. NIA. Oh, I mean, we can't say NIA. PSS was he president? Was he the one who implemented? He was the one who implemented. So he was the one who implemented it.
Let's round up on this.
Was he the one who implemented it? Was he the one who implemented it? No, I'm telling you the policy. So he did all that.
No.
Kufuor didn't even
brought the economy. Kufuor brought the economy from a HIPIC economy to a middle-income economy. But then still lost the elections. So losing an election sometimes has absolutely nothing to do with the economy. The economy that Biden, that's why I always give local examples and foreign examples. Biden's economy was 10 times better than the economy Trump left. But Trump still won the election. Trump was considered unelectable, was not good. But Trump came back. So my point is, every election is different. So to pontificate that, you will not vote for because Bawumia lost election, he won't win again. It's not supported by any data at all or by any political theory or logic. Say you won't vote for him, we understand. Say you will support him, we understand. Say you will vote for the NDC candidate, we support him. But to then try to extrapolate that and then try to see things you can impose on the Ghanaians that we will not vote, we won't do that. You are who? You have one vote, everybody has one vote.
Okay.
And the records indicate. We've seen, look, so far, we have a very anonymous vice president. You realize that? You don't believe that? Do you know why the current vice president is anonymous? It's because of the
You don't think that Martin Kpebu represents a certain constituency of people who,
no, he doesn't.
Who think alike?
Yes, and that constituency is NDC.
Oh. Really?
Yes. He's biased. He's never since one day supported Bawumia.
You know something?
He's never since one day supported
you would.
Yes, he's never supported
you would say that, I mean, it's a constituency of people who think alike, but not necessarily having to.
I've not seen any data to support that. If he shows me data to support a constituency thing like him, I will buy that.
He has a question that you think Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would appeal to the floating voter population?
Yes. And I say he will. And he should. Because think about it. I've just given you an example. If you look at the current Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, She's anonymous. Do you know why she's anonymous? She's anonymous.
That's your view.
That's my view, of course. We are all expressing our views here. We are not here to express somebody else's view.
You others will see her do other things.
What Dr. Bawumia has achieved, his policies, they are ringing policies right now, all over this country, right now, that are being implemented by this government, that were born out of the hard work he did. He himself will tell you he fought battles. He lost some, he won some. And then if you look at it, then you're going to begin to realize how he was one of the most phenomenal, one of the most transformational vice presidents. Okay. And Ghana will be very safe in Dr. Bawumia's hands. Right. And that's it. And as I said, I made this the last time. I sit here and I look at the NDC's bench. I look at the people, the NDC's bench, at a foursome, the sitting vice president, Haruna Idrisu, General Mosquito. You yourself even said General Mosquito doesn't have the finance to be a president. You said something like, I know. Yeah. None of those stand a chance against Dr. Bawumia. His stellar performance, he will beat all of them. They are all lightweights and they are all rookies.
Okay, thank you. Well, Alfred, Lawyer Amaliba, and I want to conclude on this because we need to go to the next
Alfred,
issue.
maize, the price of maize is farm gate price of 100 kilograms maize is 450.
450 Ghana
450. From the height of 800 to 1,000 per bag in the last year. So if you say that maize is rather going up, in Techima market, it is stated here that the price of maize is 450 Ghana cedis at Techima Central Market in September 2026.
Okay.
So you don't come here and tell lies.
What is the lies?
Stop that. Stop.
Can you rein him in? What is the lies I told? Can you rein him in? I said, can you rein him in? A bag of maize is below 400.
Stop making noise.
Okay, hold on.
Stop that.
You cannot stop that.
Hold on.
You do I said to you, I didn't say Techima.
Hold on.
It's a bag of maize is below 400.
So you reference...
Stop that.
Hold on. Gentlemen.
I said you need to at least afford one. To afford one.
Gentlemen.
Can you behave?
Thank you.
One cannot buy you one.
Thank you.
One cannot buy you one.
Let's maintain some decorum.
No, you need two to buy one. So
after you come onto this program, what do your students tell you? When you come on this way, you go back to class. What do they tell you? Stop misbehaving. So the point is that
hold on. So you say you reference you referenced particular pricing.
Good.
No, but then again, it means that the cost of the maize per bag has reduced. So now people are able to buy cheaper. His point is that because the price has reduced and people are buying it cheaper, now the maize farmers would have to sell double to be able to afford the price of one NPK fertilizer.
So do you want prices to come down or you want prices to go up?
Exactly.
So I just want, what kind of logic is that? No, the ordinary guy, what does he want? The logic of this thing doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Food prices used to be skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And in this country, we got to a point, it was a tipping point, when people were calling on the military to rise up because the economy was tough. Now, you have prices coming down, and you have an academic sitting here and making convoluted arguments. Do people want prices to come down so they can have 3 square meals a day, or people want to be feeling hungry every day? Is it hunger we want, or we want to have food? So, for me, it is neither here nor there. If you think that fertilizer prices are going up, make your argument towards that one. Straight point. But don't compare food prices coming down to fertilizer. Why? It is clear that when prices are coming down and food prices are becoming to be cheap, then Ghanaians feel happy for that. I do not see how his argument about connecting it to fertilizer, and I'm here to check, because even that one, when this guy says anything, you have to check whether that one too is true. But clearly, if you have a government that is doing well, as in the NDC now, consider the air of freedom that is blowing across this country. In fact, you land at Kotoka International Airport and you can feel the air of freedom. And compare that to the tension, the way Ghanaians were tensed in the previous administration. If the current administration even puts any animal there, wouldn't they vote for him? As compared to Bawumia, who was at the forefront. So forefront. So it's about, the whole thing is about how this government is performing.
You would respect the sentiments of Ghanaians and say, if you put an animal there, nobody will vote for you. So I think you have to...
Yeah, I'll withdraw that one. But I just want to tell you that if you put anybody from the NDC in that position, he will win the elections as against Dr. Bawumia. Particularly when it was Dr. Bawumia who spearheaded the hardships that Ghanaians faced. So this data that you are seeing, if Bawumia wins the elections from the MPP side, it is clearly going to be a walkover for the NDC. And I think that's where Martin is coming from. Okay. But I will be happy when that happens. Because Martin is cautioning them, they are not listening. But I will be happy as an NDC person that we need to have a walkover. And so, this data that you are seeing does not speak well for the MPP. Okay. Because the MPP cannot, with Bawumia, win the elections in 2028.
If that's your verdict, Dr. Zato disagrees. I'll end this conversation with Musa Dankwa. Musa Dankwa, yes, it is indeed the case that different elections have, different influencing factors. But there's no way you can take out the economy at any point, is it not? Because yes, you would have even the candidate who is representing the party also play a role. Because then again, if the candidate is not one that would galvanize the base to come out to vote, it's all about the numbers. So if you don't get them out, you would lose. But the economy is an integral part of voter decision making, is it not?
Absolutely right. In every election we've seen in this country, economy has been the number one issue, good or bad. When you ride on a very good economy, that tends to rub off the ruling government. If the economy is bad, they tend to be punished. If you look at the last election, there were three top issues that were bothering voters. One was economy, two was unemployment, three, education. And these were the reasons why MPP lost. On the first top two, they performed miserably. And on the third one, who were divided as whether the free education was good at all. So the economy has always been number one.
I see. Zananko, I appreciate you for this. Thank you. When is the next poll, by the way?
Next month, November.
So you're going to do this, in fact, because the MPP has just about 107 days from now. 107 days.
Every 30 days, there will be MPP delegate polls.
Every 30 days.
Correct.
Perfect. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us. Musa Dankwa is the Executive of Global Info Analytics, Executive Director, also the lead global researcher for Global Info Analytics. Thank you for joining us. I've got quite a number of your messages, a number of you asking me to allow Martin Kpebu describe himself as a Gen Z. It's a state of the mind, is it not?
I like that, like Trump says. Yes, we are a borderline with them, so we are neighbors.
True. So you are Gen Z.
Never mind.
People are selling prices of maize in their various
markets. Yes, exactly.
Navrongo is 400. Navrongo is 400, so cheap. Then today's Navrongo market day, they say it's 400. Then a bag of fertilizer, they say it's 400.
Where?
You see,
bag of Yara. A bag of Yara is
so you see, what you said is not inconsistent with part of what he said.
Yes.
I think that the issue is the price of maize has gone down.
Yes, I said that.
That has reduced.
I said that.
Which is for the greater good, because then people are buying food at a cheaper price.
Yes.
His issue is that now it's at a loss to the farmers because then they have to sell
It's
more
not to
buy fertilizer.
So what it does is that it discourages farmers from seeing it as a business. You invest in it because it's a business. If you are not spending money for price to go up. I'm making the point. So you do it. You see, you need to have
I think you could have just ended it there.
Just one statement. Listen, if the price of maize coming down means that the price of other foodstuffs and generally the economy prices have come down. So the farmer who now has to use more than one bag to buy the NPK, his prices, cost of living has come down. So overall, he's better off.
So there's a trade-off.
Yes,
essentially.
exactly. That's the way. Thank you. It's a trade-off.
Okay, thank you. So let's be very holistic in our
yes. This one-sided politics is too much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. This is Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. And the next issue this morning, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Akrotinga-Ayene, earlier in the week, in fact, a couple of days ago, addressed the press, giving details of finally the rumble in the jungle and why he tags it that way after the thriller in Manila. But we start off this conversation with his verdict on the oral preparatory team's work. This is what he said about the oral preparatory team and the fact that the report they presented had quite some work to be done on it. Reason why it's influenced this delay in prosecutions, as some have been complaining about. Take a look at this.
The investigations were necessary because the oral committee reports did not contain the evidence required to prove the guilt of the suspects in court beyond reasonable doubt. It is always important to remember that the oral committee was tasked by His Excellency the President to receive complaints of looting of state resources, and complaints do not constitute irrefutable evidence of criminality. Our investigators have diligently concluded investigations in the following cases: the SkyTrain, National Service Ghost Name Scandal, District Road Improvement Project or DRIP, National Lotteries, Palgo Multipurpose Dam, SML, Frontier Healthcare Services, Free Wi-Fi, National Ambulance, Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, Sputnik V vaccines case, and the land looting cases. In the case of the land looting cases, 8 have been completed and then 1 is outstanding. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a sense of what pertains. When the dockets are brought to my office, and the latest set of dockets were brought 2 weeks ago, I go through them diligently with the prosecution staff, the attorneys in the prosecution division, and other lawyers we work with, and then we can build a case and advise the investigators as to what to do when we find loopholes that may be exploited by defense attorneys. So I want to give 2 examples. In the case of the Boankra Integrated Inland Logistics Terminal, the report has been returned to my office. We have done our reading of the report and analysis of it, and we've come to the conclusion that there is a need for us to have a value for money audit, because that is the only way by which will determine the extent to which there was malfeasance relating to the finances of the project.
The Attorney General there giving details of a number of cases so far that are under investigation, those that are on trial, and then also those that the cases have actually been concluded. And this is the picture that he painted. And some of the cases were not even captured in the oral report. I bet it, that the National Signals Bureau, this case, Martin People, you're a member of the oral preparatory team. Yes. Was it captured in your report, the National Signals Bureau?
No, that one, Dr. Ayini says Raymond Archer did it personally. Yes, okay, he said it publicly that it's Raymond Archer, Yoku boss, who did it personally.
Great. So It's the NSS. NSS was captured.
Yes.
And then
yes.
SkyTrain.
Yes. Yes.
Good. So there are 3 cases in trial. 2 out of the
Barry
3.
Monacha is
a member of ORA.
He's ORA, so
you're
just
the
right.
Same. But it wasn't captured in there.
Yes.
I just wanted to establish
yes.
that. But then again, so there are 3 cases in trial now. That's the NSS, SkyTrain, and then also you have the National Signals Bureau. It says that yesterday.
And Akunta Mining,
Akunta Mining, yes, was part of it.
Yes.
In your oral report.
But I'm chief crusader against Akunta Mining, so Akunta Mining couldn't have escaped.
Absolutely. Yes. He announced 17 cases. He ran through quite a lengthy one. Investigations have been concluded in 10 of them. There are 4 cases under investigation as we speak. But he says this is work in progress. But this is the verdict that he put on your work as oral preparatory team. He says that the report you presented lacked evidence beyond reasonable doubt. Why so? Because these are criminal cases. The threshold for establishing guilt, as it were, or investigating criminal cases is beyond, or it must be beyond reasonable doubt. And so the report that you presented lacked this very essential ingredient for criminal cases, that the evidence must indeed be beyond reasonable doubt. Is it a fair verdict on your work as the oral preparatory team?
Yes, but yes. I mean, just speaking straight talk. Yes, but it's not a negative verdict. It's not negative. Even there is a part of the speech. Maybe you can let your producers look for it and bring. Why he said that the mandate was limited.
In fact,
yes, the mandate was limited. So when you read the 2 together, no, he couldn't have been. Yes, he can criticize ORA on other aspects, but this particular one, he wasn't.
I don't think this was meant to criticize.
Exactly, that's why I said so. It's not negative. He was just describing the state of affairs. You see, let's not forget that. You see, we are doing a whole of government approach in governance now. A whole of the nation, okay, a whole of the nation approach. So when you're doing something, you carry the citizens along. What led to this oral team? President Mahama said that as soon as he won, people were inundating him with reports. He couldn't cope. Naturally, it's why he manned the 1 or 2 phones. He couldn't cope. So quickly, he thought that, no, why don't I set up a committee to receive these complaints, document them in an orderly fashion, so that when I take over, these reports will be given to the Attorney General, who will then distribute, because Attorney General cannot prosecute corruption cases. He has to give over to the OSP, etc. When it's if it is money laundering, it has to go to Yoko, etc. Right? So the president said he had to do that, and that's a master stroke. It was a high watermark decision. High watermark decision, because people inundating him. So if he didn't do anything, then it will show that he's tone deaf. But he got an idea. Why don't I get some citizens to sit and get some staff to collect and collate these reports? You see, so that's why Dr. Ayene himself said that ORA couldn't have done forensic investigations. ORA couldn't have done detailed ones.
Right.
So we receive reports, and then for some of the reports, if we had other publicly available information, we put all these together to make the story, a bit comprehensive, readable, right, and so to ginger investigation. So I don't see Dr. Ayene as saying something negative about ORA. He was just reminding citizens that what ORA did is not investigations to produce a docket that will take you into court.
Well, there are some of the view that
yes,
if that's all you did, then really it was a waste of time, because there are other institutions who could have been receiving these complaints. Why set up a committee for that
matter?
Good.
Those institutions always existed. Yet the fact that they were going to the president-elect tells you that at least citizens had lost hope, okay, and faith in these institutions. And it happens because a lot of those institutions couldn't assert themselves.
Shraj.
You remember, yes, Shraj, OSP, CID. CID, I always mentioned Madam, they say, what do you call her? Fosina and Kofi, COP, and Dampari, you know, week. Yes, all of them. They didn't assert themselves. Akufo-Addo was the clearing agent, so he muscled them. You remember here, Akunta Mining, we present, thank God, Edem is here.
Let me introduce at this point, Edem Senano is a co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. He's going to be wearing two hats this morning. But Senano, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. So Edem Senano sitting by me here, he and I, Ken Ashigbe, and then Dr. Kwame Sapo-Esiedu, presented the petition on this Akunta Mining to a CID boss, Fosina and Kofi. October 2022. Then about 3 days later, the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, led by Ken Ashigbe, though he was part of us, he also led his group to present another petition to IG. So two petitions, one to CID boss, 3 or 4 days later, another to IG himself. So two petitions, and they were consolidated, that's put together, because IG Dampari referred it to Ando Kofi. Then Ando Kofi got investigators, Godwin Ponyo, Superintendent Inkum, etc. I think there was a third one. So long and short, we all know this investigation that was in rocket science, because we even attached the pen drives that showed the distraction to the Tano Nimri Forest, etc. Yet Ando Kofi and IG Dampari made sure that this case didn't go to court. They were pussyfooting, kukwasa, and then you see how it helped to kick out the Akufo-Addo administration. So a lot of Ghanaians had lost faith in this institution. So they said, no, JM is coming. Let's go and give our petitions to JM. You can't fault them. They saw those institutions and chose to go to JM. And when we opened the oral lines, you see, over 2,500 complaints. And then we did those that we could do within that limited time. So that decision, look, trust me, you know, but since this government took over, if they did things that are not right, I disagree. You remember, as soon as the president came, this asset declaration law, when he gave an extension for appointees to fill the declaration, I said no. Under Article 284, he doesn't have such a mandate. He doesn't have the power to extend, because the law says that the appointee must fill before entering the office. You know, a number of things. Bank of Ghana, they invading the home, the arrest warrant. I spoke against government 3 weeks ago. This Albert Dana Lababore, and then this one, what do you call him? The Gift to Waris case, Abronye's case. We can mention. So I'm the same person. So what I'm telling you that if it is wrong, I mean, my estimation, remember, I have limited knowledge. Yes. So if only I see it wrong, I'll say it. And I'm sure I'll continue to occupy this seat, because at least I've been that objective. I'm sure if I were pandering to NDC lines, by now you would have removed me and you will find a more credible candidate. So please, it's not lost on me. As for the decision of the president to create ORA, is high watermark. We filled in the vacuum at that time. Remember, when citizens are supporting you, it's only for a while. If they support you and you are not responding, if they find that you are tone deaf, they withdraw. And then you find it difficult to get them to rally behind you. So that's the president's stellar decision that, no, let me carry the citizens along, even though I don't have office. And we did it. I saw it somewhere. Bafwe said it was a waste of state resources, the MP, a lawyer. I said, but where? We didn't take 1 Ghana cedis of government money. 1 Ghana cedis, not even fuel. With all your work on oral, not even water from government. No payment from government. No, we didn't. But you think we are foolish? No. I mean, council. I mean, when I say, sorry, let me withdraw. We are wiser than that. I know that this seat, if I took 1 Ghana, the rest of it. No, I'm a bit smarter than that. I won't. Small money, you won't get me. I won't take, because you pay a high price. Then it better be money that will change my life forever. But I mean, come on. Yes, I go and take like 100,000, 200,000. No, me. I may not have it to spend like that, but I won't take. You have to take transformational money. The one so like the said he would transform the economy. All the members of the committee didn't take any. 1 Ghana cedi. Remember, at the time it was formed, ORA were appointed on the 18th of December. President Mahama was president-elect. He was not in office. Then he came into office. We handed over on the 10th of February. I'm telling you that even water from government, no. Water, a bottle of water from government, no. We are smarter than that. You know, as nation expect sacrifice, and we understood it. So the first day we met, we said, no, nobody's taking anything. Okay. Citizens are expecting sacrifice because...
So how about the other person who works with you? It's very clear
that politics pays more than a lot of jobs. It's the most lucrative. Political appointment is far more lucrative than going into industry. So, and citizens don't like it. So it was very clear to me that if we took one Ghana and we all added them, within 1 minute we're done. I said, gentlemen, are we clear that nobody's going to take anything? Yeah, within a minute. That thing was shelled. That was, yes. Finished.
How about the other persons who worked with you? No.
All of them, sacrifices.
I see.
Yes, lawyers, okay? Yes, a whole lot of them. They are here. Lawyers and law students. Some of them have since, Kabute and Co have since graduated. Okay, Adanuti Noah and the other lawyers. Many. They all helped. Sacrifice. Sleepless nights.
You mean Kabunate?
Kabunati, yeah, he just graduated. Yes. Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. I see. Dr. Sato, on this, it's going to be a graduated conversation. The verdict on oral, you've heard it from a member of the preparatory team, was not a waste of resources. It came in to fill a very critical gap at that time to ensure that people have the confidence to come up with information. The Attorney General is working on it, albeit, it says, in a slow but very effective pace.
Thank you very much. First, I just want to say something. I'm quoting the Deputy Attorney General. Oral's 21 billion recovery figure not supported by evidence. That's something that the Deputy Attorney General is alleged to have said that it wasn't, okay? And then I have another statement here. All our data included garbage. Entries collected without verification. That is all coming from a member of what? Oral. Telling us that the information they collected is garbage, is crap. And that, or some of the information, and that Oral's 20 billion recovery not supported by evidence. I want to situate my presentation based on these two fundamental things. Look, I have a theory that I've passed and I've said it here. I believe in accountability. And I believe in regime accountability and post-regime accountability. I believe that if a government in power, either through your actions or inactions, willfully or unlawfully, refuse to hold your own people to account for office, that is regime accountability. That the next government that comes has every right and must use every legitimate means to hold those people accountable. At the end of the day, so long as there's accountability, at the end of the day, so long as you are telling people that if you raise your hand and swear an oath to occupy a public office, there is a day you will be held accountable. And when that day comes, so long as your fundamental human rights are protected, and so long as the presumptions of innocence, all those basic things, so long as they are respected, you will never see me come and sit here and try to justify to somebody for what they have not done. No. Let the law take its course. Let the people's rights be respected. Let it go there. I want to say that. And at the end of the day, my belief too is that let the courts and not a politician decide the fate of the people that are outside.
Okay.
I believe in those things. Then that is what brought me to this issue. Oral, even if we cannot get the 20 billion or whatever it is, oral get money. People are being prosecuted. I have no problem with that. But here's where I have the problem, or here's where I have the issue. When this Attorney General came in, he issued up to 6 or 5 no-law prosecutors. Prosecutor. Oh, thank you. Prosecutors. Thank you.
Prosecutor.
He issued them.
Yeah.
I call those sweetheart deals to all those who got the no-law prosecutors were members of the NDC. The government did not allow a court of competent jurisdiction to determine this person's guilt or innocence. No. They denied a court that decision. And those were made by a politician and they benefited a politician. They were made by an NDC Attorney General and they benefited former and current NDC officials. Sweetheart deals. If you add the money, the total money in all these no-law prosecute cases, they will be equal to or they will be almost close to what the money Oral was supposed to get. That is money now flushed down the toilet. These people also bought properties, plenty properties. These people also made investment. We've now told them our government has come, Abai Papa Aba, and because Abai Papa has go chop the money, spend the money. Your freedom is there. Do whatever you want with that money. We'll drop the cases for you. But now we are chasing another money that we say people have stolen. Imagine in a fair country. Imagine we had a minister of justice, who says, look, even though you are my party member, even though we are in the same party, I will let the courts determine your fate. I will let the courts determine whether you are guilty or not. Let the courts do that. Meanwhile, I will also and chase these ones. Imagine we collected both monies. Imagine in a just world, we collected the money of the 7 or 5 or Nole prosecutor cases, and then we also chased these people and collected all their money. We'll be rich. We could easily fund Big Push. We could easily establish the Women Development Bank. We could easily pay cocoa farmers the 6,000 we promised them. We could easily do almost all the transformational things that this government has promised. My point is, why do you tell some group of people who are all your political friends keep the money that you are alleged to have stolen? And in almost all the cases, you made something. Is it presumption of
innocence? Yes.
No, where you get to in the court and the Attorney General has made this case. Prima facie has been established and they have opened their cases. That means that the courts have determined that there were questions to be answered. Not a human being. You could say the case was weak, the case agree. In the ambulance case, in the cocoa board case, the snake case. Unethical. Okay, good. But I'm saying that in some of the cases, they had passed that stage where the court has found that the evidence provided that the people should open their defense, right? They have passed that stage. My point is, where is the hurry? Why don't you let the court? So you left. So imagine all the money. Let's say it was 50 billion that those people were alleged to have stolen, and then it's $50 billion here. 50 billion. You are saying these people keep the $50 billion, chop it, do whatever you want it. But I will now start chasing this $50 billion. I think it's unethical and I think it's fair. And a minister of justice must seem to be doing justice to all right now. He says you're only doing justice to indecent and friends, but injustice to people that you perceive to political opponents. Now, there's something there I completely agree with Martin. That in doing these cases, we should also look for retrieval, not necessarily convictions. Yeah. And my benchmark will be, that is why I completely disagree with the 60-40 with the Unibank case. My fundamental starting process is this. You are allowed to have stolen this one. 1, pay all the money. 2, with interest. That's where I'll start the negotiations from. I'll tell the Attorney General, if I could advise you, look, pay all the money first. If you are alleged to have stolen $2 million, you pay it first with at least 10% interest. Okay. Once we have all this money, then we can talk. I will go for that because, as we've seen, in 2028, NDC loses power, they make me Attorney General. Okay, they won't make me because I'm not a lawyer, right? And then I come and say, hey, all of you are my friends, let's share the money and you go home. What happens? The state keeps losing. And there's something. These accused people are smart, they are intelligent, and they have money, and they can hire the best lawyers in this country. The best lawyers money can buy, like the Quebus. Some of us, we cannot afford the Quebus. They can afford the Quebus. They can afford the best lawyers. And these lawyers know the system. They can play the system out. And that's why we've seen that a case stays in court for almost 8-7 years. It's because of the brilliance and intelligence of defense attorneys. Assuming we do that, if we put the retrieval on the board and say, do this, then it will also help. So that at the end they don't lose. The president also did something this week that I want to applaud him for. He said I'm always, but I'm not. Setting up the special course to retrieve the monies from the auditor generals. Mm-hmm. Smart idea, brilliant idea, wonderful. I completely agree with that. That is how we begin to bring people to accountability. Let it be done. But also, Mr. President, I think we should structure it in a way like this. Once again, get the money. Mm-hmm. If you are a chief executive or whatever you are, and you say you've stolen this money, let's get the money with interest first. Then secondly, there must be something punitive. And the punitive is that if you were a chief director, let's drop you by a point or 2. Mm-hmm. You were a chief, all of a sudden you are now a manager. We've taken the money, we've taken this, and then do that. If we do these things, we'll begin to improve our public governance. These are the things we need to do to make sure that how we govern the country and that we don't give opportunity for people to loot this country and hide it somewhere. We must seem to be fair.
Mezano, Master Stroke, Oral?
Well, yes, I think I was probably one of the first. Thank you. I think I was probably one of the first to say that I thought it was brilliant. And I said so on the back of the Afrobarometer data, which had shown that this is 2022-2023, which showed that over 30% of Ghanaians said they were unwilling to report corruption for 2 reasons. First reason was they anticipated victimization or retaliation. In other words, their biodata would be released, and so persons who ought not to know, including those who they were reporting, would then attack them. So that was one reason they would not report. And the second was because they thought nothing would change. Now, the brilliance of Aura for me was in the composition of the committee. That the persons who had been put on the committee are persons who are known to have handled data over the years of sources of information without leaking who told them the information. Mm-hmm. So whether it was Martin or whether it was Samuel Ablakwa, or whether it was Kofi Boakye. These are persons known within the anti-corruption space who have taken cases, handled them, yet their sources had not come out.
Yeah.
So if you put that list of names there and say, go and report to them and say, this ones, I'm sure they will not leak my information or who I am. So I have the confidence to go and report. So I felt from being part of the analysis of Afrobarometer data that the character of the persons there would help that. But not just that. These are persons who had produced results over the years. Whether it is Martin or whether it was Sami, they've picked cases, and we have seen that in the beginning people may have doubted them. But at the end of the day, they were right. We got results. And so clearly, citizens will have a lot more confidence to say, reporting to these people, I am sure my identity won't go out. And at the end of the day, there are likely to be results. And I think for me, that's where I saw oral as being brilliant. It will not take away, and I'm trying to build on Martin's point, it will not change the fact that some persons may already have confidence in some of the institutions. So Traju still have been receiving some reports. OSP, by virtue of who is there and their confidence. So they were already receiving some reports. Yeah. But I thought this was a unique platform. And I think we should keep it. You know, I align with him when he says that, look, part of the accountability measurement or measures, mechanisms in this country is when you have finished your tenure of government, anticipate and expect an oral. Anticipate and expect that there will be an attorney general who is going to pick up all those cases and go to court. It is because during your tenure, we may not have had the time to put a microscope to what you are doing.
So oral is a good precedent.
It's a good precedent. And let's stop calling all of this witch hunting. I think those who are in leadership should not just enjoy the perks and privileges and think that at the end of the day, that's it. After your perks and privileges, there's time for accountability. You should man up and be willing and ready to be accountable and allow people, whether it's going to be by oral and then an AG and going to court, just come and speak to it. So keep your data, make sure that you are ready to defend any actions you take. Don't all of a sudden then you want to disappear from jurisdiction and we can't find you. Things like that doesn't work for us.
Are you talking about Ken Oforiatta?
Well, yes, I'm alluding to certain people. But I think that that's important. I also think that absolutely there are a number of things that are coming up that build on what we've been doing so far. The president's decision to have special courts, I think it's fantastic. I wish we had many more such special courts where these issues can come up and be heard on a daily basis. Special courts, not just in terms of mechanization, because we've tried that, it didn't work. We said it would be fast track, it didn't produce the results. But special courts with new court rules that say these courts will sit daily, that also have capacity building for the judges, for the prosecutors, so they understand the anti-corruption terrain. When the cases come, they will not look at a video that clearly somebody is saying, I gave you money, you didn't vote for me, and then they say this video is of no consequence and therefore we throw it out. No, that kind of thing ought not to happen. So in my view, I don't think, let's remember that the terms of reference for the oral team, they don't include go and investigate and produce. That was not it. So I think the languaging also, sometimes we need to be cautious. Maybe the AG meant to communicate one thing, but has been understood differently.
No, I played the full complement of it. I think the context is quite clear.
Yeah.
It was not meant to
in any way to demean or...
And he was quite careful in the choice of words. And he explained why.
I think oral achieved its purpose by raking in the evidence. And we are, at the moment, we are seeing the results. So let's not begin to suggest that it was an exercise in futility. Plus, I'm glad Martin has pointed out that they didn't take a peswa. That, I think, must be commended over and over again. Anytime we have opportunity, let's commend that team for doing what they did. And for me, it should be institutionalized. So every group that comes into government will know immediately after there will be an oral. I used to say oral hygiene is good for everybody. There will be an oral, and we'll use that data. It will be investigated. I have been saying let's give the AGs time, just as we should give the OSP time. When it comes to the fundamental rights and freedoms of citizens, let's not be in a rush to say, hurry up and go to court. Allow them to do thorough investigations so that we don't breach or infringe on anybody's rights. But at the end of the day, those who should be held accountable should be held accountable.
But does that not also, although commended, yes, oral, but that also present a challenge that you have to wait till the end of a tenure to demand accountability when there are institutions that are to ensure, they've been mandated to ensure continuous accountability within the administration's period or the tenure, not after, so that I don't have confidence to go to Shraj or OSP, CID, IOCO to report an issue. I have to wait until after 4 years. What's the guarantee that you would even get the people and they will not be out of the jurisdiction and others, as we are seeing?
I think that just demonstrates the need we have to strengthen. For example, we've talked about the Conduct of Public Officers Bill. That should be passed. There are many cases where, especially dealing with public officers, you go to court, and because they are not clear sanctions regime, we just go round. It's as if you're a public officer, nothing can be done against you. There are certain aspects of our legal regime that need to be strengthened, and that's why we are struggling at the moment. If our internal audit systems, for example, were working, many of the things we are seeing as financial irregularity shouldn't come up. Again, it's a weakness of the internal audit system to the extent of then we get to audit recommendation, implementation committees that are doing nothing. The follow-ups don't happen. So there are those issues that we need to confront up front and say, these parts of our systems are not working. If internal audit was working, trust me, a lot of the issues we are contending with would not happen. But internal audit raises the issues. What are the sanctions that should be applied? How speedily are those sanctions applied? Otherwise, at the end of the day, we have a whole machinery in place, but we're not getting the results. So you're absolutely right. The COPO needs to be done. We need to strengthen some of the areas, illicit enrichment, reverse bidding, those things are there. But internal audit, and as it leads to making sure that they are sanctioned. And that's why the president's idea of a special court on audit issues, for me, makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
So because then the Auditor General's work is on a yearly basis.
Absolutely.
So then we don't have to wait till after,
you're not waiting
after
to
4 years. But imagine, if we had to even get the Auditor General's report subjected to forensic auditing, that would even uncover more than what we're even crying about when we see in the Auditor General's report, is it not?
Which is what the AG demonstrated. I think one of the cases he said he had asked for a forensic audit, and then the data, and I thought that was excellent.
Yes. So it ballooned from about 6 million to 2.2 million.
Exactly.
543.
Exactly.
2.2
and I thought it was a good way of deploying other agencies, because then the work that the lawyers need to do when they go to court is less, because the evidence is skunk. So that I thought was a very smart move. That look, let's get other agencies to pull out the evidence in a stronger way. That then you don't have to now do a lot of running about to then make sure the evidence.
So you would recommend another layer of auditing beyond the Auditor General's report or the Auditor General's auditing. There has to be forensic auditing.
And I think they just need a checklist. That you can't do that for everything. You need to look at what cases maybe have a certain threshold and say that this one merits deploying additional, resources to get. Let's not attempt to do it for everything. So select based on some criteria so that additional work can be done.
Oral work, waste of time, or indeed coming to fill that particular void that Martin Pebu talks about. Dr. Zato is of the view that, look, if this was an approach taking, then why do you deliver a certain form of freedom to others by instituting nolle prosequis, or, as it were, deciding to discontinue some cases of persons associated with your party and then pursuing others who are outside of your party?
One of the issues that came up during the last election was fighting corruption. Because we got to this point where each other day, and sometimes people will say each other week, we had acts of corruption or scandals breaking. And today, there are people who are still wondering how a government can be in place for 9 months and there's no scandal. Because they had gotten used to the scandals in the last administration such that they thought corruption scandals were a necessary byproduct of governance. So we had gotten to a point that we were beginning to even become used to the corrupt practices of the other regime. So it was important that, having won the elections, the president would put together this oral team. And you asked a question that why didn't they send them to state institutions? That was not possible because at the time that the president set up this oral team, people who were manning those institutions were appointees of the previous administration, and you heard Martin give you his experience of how they also colluded in perpetrating the corrupt practices. So it was not possible for the president to say that, send your report to the police, send your report to the IOCO. It was good that he did what he did. Now, when Domelovo indicated that garbage was received, what he meant simply was that, and because I was with him on the program last Thursday, what he meant was that they were just a receptacle of the oral information, of complaints. They were not duty bound, because per the terms of reference, they were not duty bound to as it were, sift the issues. So he didn't mean that garbage was thrown at them. But what he meant was that as a receptacle, everybody could bring information to them, but because they had no opportunity or they didn't have the requirement to look into those matters, what they did was to hand over entire processes to the Attorney General. Now, the Attorney General, in explaining away, and I think this was to explain to those who kept saying that the Attorney General was delaying in prosecuting, delaying in prosecuting. That part of his press conference was to tell people that we needed to do some further investigations into the matters, so that at the end of the day, when I'm going to court, I'll have evidence that can stand the test of time. So those saying that I was delaying, I wasn't delaying. I was actually working behind the scene, and I am now done, and he has told you the number of cases that are now ready to go to court. So that, for me, is to explain away those who were saying that they were delaying. But has oral done us good or bad? It has. Because even me, when I wasn't even a member of the oral team, I heard people called me to say they have this evidence here, they have this evidence there. In fact, one of them even said that, why can't they replicate oral in their regions? And I remember I called Okujeto, and Okujeto said that no, what they would rather do is to have an email address, so that if you have, you can send it through their email address. I'm sure Martin is aware of how you receive some information there. Yes.
And we went to Tamale.
So, exactly. And that call actually came from Tamale to me. So I am of the view that what oral has done has saved this country. Look at what is happening at Bufferstock.
We'll get there. That's the second part of the conversation.
Yeah,
you get the point.
Bonnie and Clyde. Husband and wife. You know,
So
Bonnie and Clyde.
the Attorney General's press conference on was it on Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Was clearly to bring along the people of this country, carry them along, ensure that they are aware of what is happening. That's why he said he was going to report to the sovereign people of this country. And so it is about accountability. Good governance requires that you carry the people along. And that's what Attorney General did, and I agree with him.
I see. Well, on the matter of patience, which you referenced, he also addressed that part of it, that he wants to, and this was his view, the aim is to have watertight prosecutions so that he doesn't go to court. And knowing him, you've been consistent that knowing Dr. Dominic Ayine, he would want to cross the T's, dot the I's, make sure that when he's going to court, he doesn't like to lose, right? So he wants to take his time to do this. But that also comes at a time when the sentiment is that, look, it's been over 9 months now. If oral was a pregnant promise, it should have delivered some prosecution by now. 9 months on.
Okay.
Right? But this is what he said. I want to take a listen to him and then we'll conclude on that point. Take a look.
Be specific. If you miss the element of specificity, your case will be thrown out. And that is why I keep urging Ghanaians to be patient, because we need diligent investigation so that when I send a case to court, we don't have any doubt that criminality has occurred. So, ladies and gentlemen, prosecutions have commenced in the SkyTrain and National Service scandals.
Well, so that's the Attorney General on this matter of patience.
Yeah, good. And it's good he reference citizens to be patient because we are doing a whole of society approach in governance, a whole of society. So government, private sector, civil society, all of us joining together to fight corruption. So he sees that, yes, the populace, citizens were a very important component of the fight. So where we seem to be running ahead of him too much, he needs to, remind us to be a bit patient because there has to be due process. So it's a very key call or a very important call in the whole of society approach, or it's other cousin, the whole of government or nation approach. So, you can't remember that ORA is citizens who brought information to the ORA committee. Citizens have to cooperate. If you don't have citizens, you don't have a nation, So he's saying that, yes, you are very important, but it appears your speed is way more than can be accommodated. So let's put it in perspective so that we'll see how citizens can accommodate the government. And that's important. Nowadays, I like referring to this popular example because, Ghanaians love football. And so they would always want to, if you use a football example, you'll get a good people to understand. The party case, in the Black Stars. Oh, and before I continue, please, look, the Coach Otto Addo, he should send just the players who qualified us. So don't go and bring any foreign players.
I think that's very clear.
Yes, we don't want any players to come and join. Those who fought, let them go. Obi, friends say, all right, the people who fought, the players who fought and took us to the World Cup, let them go and play. Let's just do this. We are tired of people sitting aside when it's cooked, then they want to come and eat. Well, we'll come to that. Right. So, Patty, the Black Star player, we all know that he has a case, allegations of rape, etc. See how many years it took to investigate. And even when the case was brought to court this year, they've not started the trial. They will start sometime next year. So you see due process. Due process, very important. But you see the call that the Attorney General makes, so it brings the other side of the coin. Which other side is that? The elephant in the room is that we need a new law to stipulate how long these criminal cases will take. A few minutes ago, I'm happy at them is here. And that's how Domlevo will be joining us. And it's good that Domlevo has reignited that debate because he started it about 3 weeks ago when he did an interview with KSM. Then Joy FM took him. I've heard them on it, and Zato has also referred to it indirectly because you see that Zato is not happy and he reflects the sentiments of a large chunk of our people about the nollie prosequis. And I also even stated it when Dr. Ayene entered the nollie prosequis. I said that for Collins Darby's case, the Sagleme one, let's do a forensic audit to see an evaluation. Have we gotten value for money? If not, if some people are due us money, they should return it. So, Dr. Ayene, we are reminding you, and I said it, I will keep reminding you, after the Saglame case, it's not dead. It cannot be dead. Otherwise, someday when you leave office, I'll be championing that we'll revisit Saglame. As long as I live, Saglame will have to revisit it. So, Dr. Ayene, it's good that you set up a committee now, independent, bring a lot of us, civil society, to come in and watch for ourselves. Then we can tell citizens what we saw. Let's get to the bottom of the Saglame case. That 280 million or so cannot go like that. We want to see. Let's do evaluation.
The houses are still there, by the way.
Yes, so we want to see that we get value for money. Is that all of the money that's in there? Of course, when we say in there, not only the fiscal one, but also what they've paid to their contractors. So the point is that we need a law that will say that when you start the trial today, finish in 6 months, 1 year, etc. We don't have enough time to go into all of that. I see Adam corroborating it. But we agree that we need that certainty. We say we are doing a whole of society approach in governance. So if you are doing a whole of society approach, you see that citizens are not happy about the nollie prosequis, the withdrawals, etc. And you see, don't underestimate Ghanaians. The way there's still anger around it, don't think that it's just an MPP matter. No. I've seen that this nation is very strong. The way this, when Zato spoke, he was speaking even to people in NDC. It's not just MPP. For this one, I agree with Zato that the nollie prosecutor thing, maybe we could have handled it differently. And so we need to do things around it. Otherwise, look, trust me, this thing can become a big election issue. the way MPP is beating this Nolly prosecutor matter, it's going to become a big election because you see how Zatu said it, and you see we couldn't counter. I said, look, Dr. Ayine, you've lost moral grounds because you freed some people and then now you seek to prosecute others. I think that for the cases that have issues, especially the Collins Dada matter, the Sagle one, let's go into it. As for the, what do you call it, Atufose ambulance trial, we all know that it was prosecutorial misconduct, unethical. Our law doesn't allow the Attorney General to use the criminal justice system to persecute political opponents. In the tape, you hear Godfrey Dami say that it's a Kufuado and Oforiata who are on his neck, that he should get forcing convicted so that there will be a by-election, etc. But the main point we're answering is that Dr. Ayine says citizens should slow down a bit. Right. And we are saying that, and Domlevo will join to make his point, that let's have a new law. In America, they call it Fair Trial Act. India also have it. The UK also have it, and many other countries. So they will stipulate that for this and this category of offenses, you must finish within 6 months. For this other one, it's 1 year. We need that badly.
So we need that cure badly. What has been described as the unnecessary adjournments of cases?
Excellent.
So that you have a specific period, 6 months, complete this case.
Yes, and the judges will uphold it. The judges will uphold, because once it's a law, it will come with consequences for the judge who is seized with the case. The judge knows that if he doesn't keep the timeline, his job is on the line. His job, I know now with the removal of a CJ, it sends a signal that citizens are wild, okay? Citizens are getting more engaged. Citizens are becoming savvier. So once they know the law. Oh, and we even did it. We did it. You know, the election petition law. Absolutely. We changed it in election 2012. It took us about 9 months. And you know that particular year, that was JM's first full term. That whole year, it crippled the economy because investors didn't know how we would come out. Investors were scared we would fight. But this country, it should be clear, the way we are so intermarried, very mixed. How are we going to fight? Because me sitting here like this, if I mention my tribes, I'll mention like 4, 5. Yeah, very, very mixed. How are you going to fight them? Or how am I going to fight Zatu? No. Okay, so let's make a law. Let the law be passed, just like we did for the election petition. So you see that in 2020, the law said we should use 42 days. We exceeded it by about 2 or 3 days. 3 days, right? Yeah, we exceeded, and that was good. So we've done it. We've experimented it with election petitions. Let's roll it out to cover other offenses. Because the way I feel it, you know, the last election, I keep saying that it doesn't appear we've understood the consequences of the last election. There's still a lot of anger among citizens. There's still a lot of anger. So we pray government to manage this anger well. Otherwise, it can explode. Because you see, what is becoming clear to us is that, political office pays far more than trying to work diligently. Okay, because in the last regime, you see the series of Bonnie and Clyde, Edubuahi and wife, Abdul Hanan and wife, etc., Gift to a warrior husband. So it's a series of Bonnie and Clyde. Viewers, you may Google Bonnie and Clyde. They were a notorious couple in the US. They were involved in bank robberies, etc. I'm not saying these people have been convicted. What I'm talking about is that you see that trend, husband and wife, husband and wife. You see how it's degenerating. So with the anger in the system, if we don't hurry up and pass all these laws, look, this thing could boomerang into our face because there's anger. Because citizens feel like, at the night, like we are mates. Another of our mates will enter political office within 4 years. You see a string of properties. Less than that, actually. Yes, some even less than 4 years. You see a string of properties that you work for 30 years or 35 years. You will never acquire that. How? So it tells you that politicians are chopping our money too much. And that anger, if we don't solve it,
It's a word to the wise. It's a very important sermon for the morning. That should sink in because the many who looked at the outcome of the elections looked at the Fourth Republic where we are now. You juxtapose the despondency that was in the system with the outcome. And when you speak to a lot of young people, there's been quite a number of surveys that you have young people then responding to whether or not military
intervention. And they said they like
and see how the Burkina Faso leader got that kind of rousing applause and welcome. All of those things send signals.
Yes, and recently President Mahama even referenced it when Goodluck Jonathan did they held some democracy dialogue about 2 months ago, sometime I guess was September. Conference center, conference center. I went there. I was given a ticket. I went there, and then President Mahama came and gave a speech, and he referred to Ibrahim Traore's popularity. That you see, citizens want to see that selflessness, that vision. You see, so if we don't get on board like that, the way there's despondency, because we need to create jobs. Like I keep saying, look, we have so much agricultural land, and yet we are hungry. Look at cost of living. And that, by the way, other citizens have also sent me messages that they also bought bags of maize for 300 Ghana. So not always this in 450. So the prices range. So we need to create a picture.
Even the fertilizer itself, they said it was not what you are talking about.
Yes.
Because the one fertilizer can give you 8 bags. So if you apply one fertilizer and give you 8 bags. So what is the what's the
logic? So that we all want to build a good nation. We don't want skewed statistics. You see the knowledge prosecutor. I see I've supported you that citizens are even attacking.
You're not a farmer. You're not a farmer.
Yes.
You don't have a maize farm.
I get your point. I think we've proceeded on that.
Got a new argument that one fertilizer bag will yield what? 8 bags. So why would you come in? By then, event, my key thing is that citizens say some places you get maize for 300 Ghana.
Thank you.
So it's not one.
The point well made on the matter of
and then so let me just land on the. So reverse burden, I know Adam will come and the rest. So please, let's sanitize the system. Sanitize the system. Otherwise, the anger. Look, when I, what do you call it? The last time, in the course of the week, the Attorney General did a press conference on Wednesday, right? Thursday, when we were doing interviews, some lawyers called me. They were very angry about it. That's how come now Attorney General says you present all cases to the court, except that me, I'm also begging. You know, to every rule, there's an exception. You can't send every case to court because you see, Zato mentioned it. Some of the people, because they are very wealthy, if they offer you that, look, we want to bring back the money, even with interest, etc., you don't take it. When you go into court, the array of lawyers they'll get, good lawyers will get adjournment. Remember this law we are saying we should stipulate times. It doesn't appear we can do it in less than 3 months. Because we are yet to even get more citizens to push government, whole of society approach. So even effectively, it can take more than 6 months, etc. And it may even take, like I'm saying, more. So we don't have that in the bag. Yes. So if somebody would come today, say, okay, this case, I want to pay plus interest, etc. Look, Dr. Aine, let's take it. You can't take every case to court. The oral cases, you can't present all to court within 4 years. You can't.
Recoveries.
Yes,
that was the anchor of your work.
Yes, some of them we have to recover. Yes, they do 4-1. Let me quickly put this in context. They do 4-1 that they 60-40. Remember, there's an Attorney General's opinion where Godfrey Dame himself said Akufo-Addo and Ofori-Atta were engaged in illegality in the revocation of the Unibank license. You know, we have it on this. What do you call it here? We can read. The last time we read it, right? Yes. Akufo-Addo and Ofori-Atta were said to be engaged in illegality. The Deputy Attorney General at the time, and he was told to write an opinion. And he said the setting up of CBG was illegal, giving business operating permit within 1 day, etc. And even the revocation, the main thing, revoking the Unibank license was illegal. That's not what the Special Deposit Act, Banking and Special Deposit Act says. No, it's not the first option. It was totally wrong, very egregious. So in such a case, how are you going to prosecute and win? Let's not forget, that's the same thing Godfrey Dame did in the Atuforcing ambulance trial, where the Dubai company said, we want to pay. Their first offer was about 2 million euros.
Yes.
Godfrey Dame, take this money. Then no. Who has asked them? We will not take that money.
The big C, yeah?
The big C. Not knowing, Godfrey Dame, he himself said it on tape that actually the reason he was continuing with the trial was a political persecution, a witch hunt, that Akufo-Addo and Ofori-Atta had asked him to get Atuforcing convicted by hook or by crook. And then in the end, we all came up short because we got nothing. Because such unethical conduct, the court cannot sanction that, etc. Right? Yes, so once we see that to every rule, there's an exception. I think Dr. Ayeni should reconsider that position that every case will enter court. It will come back to haunt us.
See, the bid for patience, expedited prosecutions, at least, and putting timelines to cases so as to stop these adjournments that prolong cases 4 years, 8 years.
I once actually asked a lawyer friend of mine why in the United States or other places, let me say the US, you can investigate a case for 2 years, 3, 4, 5 years. But once it gets to court, sometimes about 2, 3 weeks the case is dispatched. And the explanation the person gave me to them was that because of the jury system in the United States, because you sit a jury, and there's no way you can sit a jury for a year. There's no way you can sit a jury for that long. So the jury system there, that by the time you actually come to jury, everything is ready, and then the trial can just start. And mostly we say they do it daily, it goes faster. So maybe it's a jury system that is allowing them to go faster. That's it. But I think also there can be issues where prosecutors are not ready, but they are playing politics and political expediency, and this kind of pressure allows them to run to court only to realize that they are not prepared, only to realize they are not ready. Because some of the delays, let's not forget, it is not the accused that cause all the delays. Some of the delays are caused by the state itself. And that is why we say, so my point is, look, oral, I've said it, that oral was one of the best political slogans ever imagined. And oral has delivered on one of its biggest achievements, which was to get political power. Oral overpromised, but now it's been underwhelmed. And there are monies, that is why now we've seen this argument, oh, we cannot get all the money we said we'll get. We couldn't get it. Oral was a campaign promise. And you so if you cannot remove the politics from oral and then think there's just a straight legal accountability, it's not. They are married, they are joined at the hip. So the politics of oral and now the practice and realities of oral are there. That is why, on the other hand, you see the Attorney General in a difficult position. If he gives more, if he hosts a press conference and does give more details, people say, oh, you are playing politics today, try your cases in court. If he doesn't also give a lot of updates, then we are told that, well, why are you not telling us this? It's difficult. He finds himself in a difficult position. It's because right from the onset, oral was cooked in a partisan environment. It was cooked as a political promise. And now you are trying to turn that political promise into actual prosecutable evidence in the court. And that is what is giving these status. At the end of the day, if we succeed in making sure that corruption and looting of state properties is not made easy and simple, I'll be happy, man. At the end of the day, if you're able to sanitize our public administration system and understand that our governance system should not be seen to be enriching one individual at the expense of all of us, I am happy. At the end of the day, we want a system whereby people's guilt or innocence are determined by courts of competent jurisdictions, and that those courts get to determine distance. It's only when we do that, then we can begin to see that we are improving good governance, we are improving our governance structures. But there's also something that I don't know, the lawyers could tell me, look, if you are an auditor general, or if you are an auditor of because there are auditors at some of these places, what is their role?
So that question will come in the next conversation, because then the point is, if we're having to then wait till the change of a regime for the full length of the frog to be seen, then there's a problem somewhere. If there are auditors in these institutions, and on a yearly, the auditor general would audit the accounts of buffer stock, for instance, and national service. So then why didn't that audit process uncover all of this that
sometimes
we're seeing
they compromise
right now? And that's the point you made earlier. Did oral overpromise and under-delivering, as Dr. Zato is saying?
No. Oral was a response to the clarion call of the people of this country to hold former government officials accountable. Oral was not a political tool, or is not a political tool. Oral responded to the hue and cry of the Ghanaian people. We all saw the corruption in our faces. In fact, now we are getting to know what we didn't know. So, for me, oral is a response to what the people of this country wanted. No politics in it. In fact, there are current government party people who have been referred to Attorney General for investigation. You are aware of that. 2 of our leading executives have been referred to the Yoko. This has never been done. When a similar case came up on the MPP, we saw now how Akufo-Addo had to, clear that person and say he was never at the forest doing whatever. So oral is not political. Oral was not an overpromise activity. Oral was a response to the genuine cries of the people of this country. For the first time, under the Fourth Republic, I don't know other republics, after a change of government, the finance minister fled. It's a clear indication of what he himself knows he did to the people of this country. The fact that he's unwilling to even come back voluntarily, and we had to resort to other mechanisms to bring him back, is a clear testimony of he himself admitting what he did to this country. So, oral, for me, came as a response to what the people of Ghana were asking the NDC to do.
And talk about that leads us to the rumble in the jungle. The Attorney General's own description of what he has found at the National Food and Buffer Stock Company. And this is what he put out earlier in the week. Rumble in the jungle. Take a look.
The buffer stock investigation, which are nicknamed the Rumble in the Jungle, as at March 2020, when we announced the arrest and detention of suspects Kobna Idubohi and his wife Angela Ejie Boateng, the Economic and Organized Crime Office had gathered credible intelligence regarding a criminal enterprise that had been operated by the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited, Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab. Initial estimate put the amount of money pilfered by Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at the time at around 58 million Ghana cedis, far in excess of the 49 million suspected to have been stolen by Mr. Edubohe and his co-accused persons. I call the criminal enterprise operated by Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at Buffer Stock the Rumble in the Jungle, not only because of the huge amount of money at stake, but because of the fact that while food suppliers were wailing and gnashing their teeth due to failure to pay them for supplies to the buffer stock, and while our school kids were being denied nutrition under the school feeding program for lack of funds, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators were busy lawlessly looting funds meant for the program. That is jungle behavior. The informal meaning of the word rumble is to discover illicit activity or the perpetrator of the illicit activity. Through painstaking investigations, the EOCO discovered this illicit criminal enterprise run by a gang of corrupt, lawless officials at the Buffer Stock Company. On June 25, 2025, the EOCO conducted a coordinated operation based upon their initial investigations, which resulted in the arrest of Mr. Abdul Wahab, former Chief Executive of Buffer Stock, his wife Faiza Seydou Wuni, and then James Atieku, the Buffer Stock Manager for the Northern Sector, who was based in Tamale. The operation also led to the arrest of Emmanuel Atta, Head of Corporate Affairs of NAFCO. The arrest followed initial intelligence and assessment by EOCO, who suggested that while serving as CEO of Buffer Stock between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab colluded with his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, Richard Sam, Head of Finance, Bismarck Owusu Boache, Finance Department, and Emmanuel Atta, Corporate Affairs Manager, and others to create an elaborate criminal enterprise that was used to steal and launder public funds from the Buffer Stock Company. Within the period between 2017 and 2024, Mr. Abdul Wahab, in concert with Richard Sam Asante and Bismarck Owusu Boache, orchestrated a transfer of 78,269,084 Ghana cedis and 4 pesos from the bank accounts of Buffer Stock Company to a private company linked to Hanan Abdul Wahab, his wife, and staff of Buffer Stock at Republic Bank and EcoBank. Evidence shows that the funds were instantly retransferred to companies owned by Abdul Wahab himself, and companies and entities owned and associated with him and his wife. Similarly, evidence shows that between December 2017 and May 2019, Hanan Abdul Wahab transferred 5,495,780 Ghana cedis and 36 pesos from Buffer Stock Company accounts to two bank accounts belonging to Aludiba Enterprise, one of his companies at Republic Bank and ABSA. Aludiba Enterprise is not a registered supplier of Buffer Stock Company. Hanan Abdul Wahab between 2019 to January 2022 also orchestrated some suppliers to transfer an amount of 11,998,830 Ghana cedis, 48 pesos, to an entity owned by a staff of Buffer Stock, and later instructed the staff to retransfer the funds to a company owned and run by himself and his wife.
Well, that's the Attorney General giving details of the rumble in the jungle. And these are the charges that he says, as of yesterday, all things being preferred against these people. I'm talking about the husband and wife. Stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit. And as Martin People has referenced a few times, there's a template that is running through at least in all three cases that are on trial now, except the SkyTrain one.
Yeah.
So you have this Buffer Stock one, husband and wife alleged to have been, the masterminds of this, as the Attorney General described it, the criminal enterprise. You have the National Service scandal, the Deputy Director General and the husband also establishing a company, Blocks of Life. And then you have the National Signals Bureau as well, husband and wife, all of that involved. But I tell you what, why does the Attorney General describe this as a rumble in the jungle? According to his account, these are their properties that were acquired with the alleged proceeds of crime. 5-bedroom house at Chain Homes, over $1.6 million. And from the details of the documents that we have seen here on Key Point, much of it was paid with fiscal cash. This over $1.6 million was paid fiscal cash, majority of it, for this house at Chain Homes around the, you know the place. And there's a 3-bedroom house, cantonments, $600,000. Plots of land at airport development, $750,000. There's a 17-bedroom boutique hotel at Gumani in Tamale, that's Gumani in Tamale, $250,000. There's a 4-bedroom bungalow situated at Jowulu, over 4 million Ghana cedis.
Did you say the 17-bedroom property is 250? No, the 250 is for the management.
This is the management.
Villa Monticello. That's the management.
That was some sort of a collaboration with them. They don't own it, by the way. I just wanted to distinguish that. Yes, it's important. And then also the purchase of the point, that's an acre of land. Government land for that matter. And in fact, the details we have of this particular land was purchased by someone and then transferred to him.
The lady of Dankwa Institute.
Yes.
Yes.
And there is actually a development on this land, we understand, ongoing. And some persons, contractors and others outside of the country were engaged, paid some amount of money as well. But he has, within his right, Abdul Hanan, come to dispute all of this. He says his attention has been brought to the recent statements by the Honorable Attorney General during a press engagement. His name was mentioned in connection with allegations of corruption. He states respectfully that these claims are untrue and do not reflect the facts of the matter. And so he will have his day in court and answer to the issues. So until this goes to court, I mean, in the end, beyond what the Attorney General has said, he'll still have to prove this beyond reasonable doubt in court, is it not? These people will have their day, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this one, like we were saying, viewers, once again, we are not saying they are guilty. We're analyzing just based on the facts that we've seen money move from here and etc. We've not pronounced guilt. The courts will pronounce. But it's within citizens' rights to analyze the facts. So you would see that it says that a lot of, yes, so Attorney General is going to prove. But the key thing is that from the Attorney General's press conference, it says one of the key accused persons has confessed. It's confessed. So that's the Northern Regional Manager of the buffer stock, right? So his company was used to siphon the money from buffer stock and then transferred to Abdul Hanan and his wife. This is very, very important. Very important. Because the key person, the person whose company was used, is saying that, look, these things I did, I just received the money. I didn't use the money to buy food. I simply received the money and transferred to Abdul Hanan and his wife, their companies. So this one, what again do you need? What again do we need? That's serious, because you look at it again, Mr. Ocansey. If the man, if it didn't occur, he would not say so. Right. If those things didn't occur, he would not say so. So he is a regional manager, and he says, I received this money in my account. He said, Dr. Aini says over 90% of that money was not used to buy any food stuff for our children in the schools. Rather, that company was made to receive, that's Sultan Company Limited, right? Was made to receive the money, and what did they do?
They didn't supply?
No. He said it just simply went to Abdul Hanan and his wife, their companies. Let's get the
to their account.
Yes, so pure transfer. It wasn't meant to buy any foodstuffs. No, it wasn't meant to buy any foodstuff. You get it, then you simply transfer to Abdul Hanan and his wife, their companies. And so that's the one, Fauza Company Limited. There were 3 companies. 1 second.
We'll put that up.
Yes, I'm trying to get the list of the company. So it came from Sultan, then it went to Fauza, then there was also another of those companies. So with this, clean. You didn't transfer money to buy foodstuffs. So, Nasikano, you've not returned the money, then it means that we are in the realm of what? Stealing, etc. This one is not going to be rocket science. And it's the guy himself who has confessed. He himself confessed that, look, these monies, I didn't buy any food. So if he's agreed that he didn't buy any food, but he simply collected the money and transferred to Abdul Hanan's wife's company and other companies owned by them, what again are we waiting for? And that's how come we just hope that they would hurry up with the trial, because this kind of cases, the more they stall, then the more they breed impunity. Because this one is called follow the money. Follow the money, paper trail. Follow the money. And once you are following the money, you see that it went from that Sultan Company Limited to the various companies owned by Abdul Hanan and his wife. And they don't show that they subsequently supplied any food items to the government of Ghana.
Right.
That's the buffer stock. So once they are not able to supply, once they didn't supply as of the time of these investigations, then it presupposes that you've stolen the money. Yes, the judge will finally rule. But we as citizens here, we are allowed to say what we are. We are not doing merits. No, we are just recounting the same facts that the Attorney General has put out there. And he is allowed. I'm sure right now we've all come to accept that, yes, it's good for our democracy that usually the Attorney General is giving us detailed briefings. Yes, it's very important, because we've repeated over 10 times today that it's a whole of society approach or whole of nation approach to governance. So it cannot be the Attorney General holding all the evidence alone and not sharing with us. He should share. Yes, now let's do this. Let's quickly read through the list. This I finally found it.
So
it says that Sortina, so it says money laundering by former CEO of National Food and Buffer Stock Company. So look, Sortina Enterprise, from their account, the Sortina Enterprise is the company owned by the Northern Regional Manager of the Buffer Stock. From Sortina Enterprise to Hanan Abdul Wahab, 16,179,137 cedis, 25 pesos. Then once again, from that company, Sortina Enterprise to Alkani Enterprise, 23,913,964 cedis, 90 pesos. Then number 3, from Sortina Enterprise to Fauhauser Ventures, okay? 500,000. Then another one from Sortina, so 4th time lucky. Hey, Charlie, Sortina paying chain homes directly, 550,000. So in total, the money that went from Sortina to Abdul Hanan and his wife's companies is 493,102 cedis. You see it? So look at the companies. And this one, they say we cannot talk. Oh, we can talk. Citizens are allowed to make such comments. We haven't pronounced guilt. Under Article 19, Clause 2, they are innocent until proven guilty. We are just saying that we've seen money go. So far, Hanan and his wife, their case is not that money is clothing allowance or entertainment allowance or Hanan's salary. And the Attorney General showed that Hanan, his salary at the time he was leaving office was 28,000. 28,000 cedis. Cedis, oh sorry. Even if it was dollars, he couldn't have acquired these properties. But for the avoidance of that, it's cedis. And the wife who received this money says she's paid 5,000 Ghana cedis a month. You see the money laundering schemes? Yes. So that is it. This Bonnie and Clyde pattern, Bonnie and Clyde, 3 patterns. No, come on. And so you see Ghanaians, why we did the best thing by booting the corrupt Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government out. All these things were happening. Things they didn't know. You see this following the money, this Abdul Hanan money. You see they trace it to a certain big politician who wants to become president. You will see with time.
I see. But you see, it's concerning that if we have to wait till after 4 years to
don't have to wait. No,
to uncover all this.
The Supreme Court itself says it. That no, accountability is day by day.
Yes.
So whoever says you have to wait.
But now we're getting to know this after a period of between 2017 and now.
Yes, I get it. It's because Akufo-Addo was, cheerleader. He was clearing agent, so he would make sure that such cases are covered.
But auditing was going on. The audit service.
They are compromised. Politicians intimidate them.
Let me
tell you, there's this lawyer, Kaiser. He was involved in the Kroll and Associates case. Kaiser, what's his surname? Kaiser now works for OSP. The way they intimidated Kaiser in the audit service, eventually took him to Ho. Yeah, Kaiser is a lawyer. Maybe he should speak up. The Kroll and Associates, we know the people who were involved in Kroll and Associates. They made sure, of course, they were collaborating with the former Auditor General. And I took Auditor General, right to information. We caught them doing illegal recruitments, etc. They intimidated this guy and eventually threw him to Ho, frustrated himself. Eventually, he had to leave and join a different government institution. You talk, look, I have many auditors here who deal with me. They tell you the intimidation. The intimidation. Politicians are intimidating auditors. You remember what Adam said earlier on? The Internal Audit Agency, they are not independent. Politicians hold sway over them. And Ghana, sometimes that's the thing the public servants need to move away from. The way we all want to be in Accra, the way nobody wants to pay a price, because they tell, hey, cancel this, and if I continue, they will take me to Wa, they will take me to Boko. You see, so nobody wants to go to Wa, nobody wants to go to Boko. So then in that case, let me leave it. Let me leave it alone so that I can keep my job here. My children and my wife are in Accra. I don't want to go to Wa or Boko. Unfortunately, those are the examples. Or some will just say the North, as if the North is just one small area. And as if there are no people from the South who live in the North and work well. So it's the public sector. That's what we're saying.
Okay.
It's a whole of society approach. Some people in the public sector, they are largely to blame for this. They don't want to assert themselves. They are just looking for their stomachs alone. That's how come the politicians do that to them. Even sometimes they are the ones who coach the politicians how to do this wrong thing.
So these are the companies you
Yes.
referenced in there. That's what's on the screen right now. Alkani, Aludiba, Energy Partners Limited. That's what the Attorney General said.
Yes,
Companies
but we have to also add the Saltina, because Saltina is the one that received over 40.
There you have it there. Saltina, owned by a third party connected to the couple.
Yes.
That is the Northern Regional.
Yes, boss of the buffer stock. And it's good he has confessed. It's good. What's his name? Let me find the name. We commend him. It's good he speaks the truth, because when the facts are clear, don't play ostrich to continue denying. No. Maybe I hope he does a plea bargain so that he can be convicted early, then he can get a lighter sentence. Then we will see. Then we'll be left with Bonnie and Clyde number 2. Because they do Boahin's case came first, right? So they are Bonnie and Clyde number 1. Then Abdul Hanan's case came. So they are Bonnie and Clyde number 2. Then the National Service, Gift Owari, and then Lawyer Mensah, they will be Bonnie and Clyde number 3. Oh, what a solid team.
That is eventually, I mean,
for now, they are. That's the solid team Baumia was talking about.
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yes, so that one we acknowledge.
Okay, now let me just tell you this, and you come in, gentlemen. Daniel Yademelovo is going to be joining us in a bit as well, former Auditor General, and also a member of the oral preparatory team. Lawyer Christian Mamhesi will join us as well. But if you've been seeing this bottle on the table, it's for a good reason. UGL Premier Fresh Natural Mineral Water. It's a premium product of UGL, that's the commercial subsidiary of the University of Ghana. Our water is sourced from natural springs in the Ayikuma Enclave, where we strive to maintain its most natural form. Now, with its crisp, refreshing taste, UGL Premier Fresh leaves a lasting impression, pure hydration that don't just drink, but experience. Product ranges, bottled water, 500 ml, convenient for portable and refreshing. The dispenser jar as well, 18.5 liter, ideal for homes, offices, and institutions. Sachet water, that's 500 ml, affordable, everyday hydration. That's what you should keep in mind. Contact them on 056 181 4444, 056 181 4444, or 055 506 0150, 055 506 0150. UGL Premier Fresh Mineral Water, where purity meets refreshment. And when you call these two numbers, tell them that you heard it on Key Point, and they will do you well. As I've always stated, they will do you well and ensure that you smile going home. So that is the catch for you on this one. Also, we have some good news for you this time around, and it is from Ocean Bells. Ocean Bells Travel and Tour. Affordable tickets. There's an exclusive holiday tour to Dubai coming up from the 23rd to the 27th of December. 4 nights of unforgettable celebrations. Return transfers from Dubai International Airport, desert safari with barbecue dinner and live entertainment on sharing transfer. Also half-day Dubai City tour on sharing transfer. There's a Marina Door cruise with buffet dinner and live entertainment on sharing transfer as well. And this is it. You would have your UAE tourist visa, return flight tickets that they would take care of for you. I'm talking about Ocean Bells Travel and Tour. Celebrate the holiday upcoming season with unbeatable ticket prices for both domestic and international flights. With the Ocean Bells app, go on the Google Play Store and on the App Store to download the Ocean Bells app. That's Ocean Bells Travel and Tours. You just go on Google Play Store, type Ocean Bells GH, and download their app. And when you book or buy a ticket through the app, you enjoy 10% discount. And so go there. And for those of you watching us on Keypoint, they have a special package for you, 10% discount on all the flight tickets that you will buy with Ocean Bells. And they have a tall list of airline partners: South African Airways, Kenya Airways, Royal Air Maroc, Emirates Airlines, Brussels, Ethiopia, Africa World, Air Peace Airlines, all partners as well with Ocean Bells. And with every ticket you buy, there's 10 Ghana cedis that goes to support initiatives for community development. Call them on these numbers: 059 397 2767, 059 397 2767. That's Ocean Bells, who enjoy the 10% discount for only the viewers on Keypoint. 059 397 2767. We're back shortly after this quick break. Daniel Demelovo joins us. Also, Christian Mamhesi will join us. Stay with us.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online, and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani. From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust. Impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News. Leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online, and digital. 3 News, first in news.
buffer stock investigation, which are nicknamed the Rumble in the Jungle, as at March 2020, when we announced the arrest and detention of suspects and his wife. The buffer stock investigation, which are nicknamed the Rumble in the Jungle, as at March 2020, when we announced the arrest and detention of suspects Kobna Idubohi and his wife Angela Ejay Boateng, the Economic and Organized Crime Office had gathered credible intelligence regarding a criminal enterprise that had been operated by the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Food and Buffer Stock Company Limited, Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab. Initial estimates put the amount of money pilfered by Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at the time at around 58 million Ghana cedis, far in excess of the 49 million suspected to have been stolen by Mr. Edubohi and his co-accused persons. I call the criminal enterprise operated by Abdul Wahab and his collaborators at Buffer Stock the Rumble in the Jungle, not only because of the huge amount of money at stake, but because of the fact that while food suppliers were wailing and gnashing their teeth due to failure to pay them for supplies to the buffer stock, and while our school kids were being denied nutrition under the school feeding program for lack of funds, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his collaborators were busy lawlessly looting funds meant for the program.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're on the Voice of London radio in the heart of the City of London, and Voice of London television as well, and a number of radio stations across the country. Christian Mamhesi, private legal practitioner, is joining us. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. Also joining us on Zoom, we have Daniel Yao Domelevo, a former Auditor General of the Republic of Ghana, and also a member of the Oral Preparatory Team, joining us, and the board chair of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO. Daniel Yao Domelevo, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity.
Great. It's good to have you. Mezano, you said that all these properties are alleged to have been acquired through this said criminal enterprise. Doesn't surprise you, including the over 60 luxury bags and 1.5 million and over watch that Attorney General said.
No. I mean,
it doesn't surprise you?
No, it doesn't.
What else do you
surprise
need
me.
to be surprised?
The figures are shocking, but no, because you see, I think we need to do some social research.
Mr. Domelo, you want to say something?
Yes, the figures are huge and mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised.
Exactly.
Why am I not surprised? It's because there have been no consequences for misbehavior for a very long time. People have been getting away with this all over the years. So people are just taking it from one level to another. When I joined the public service in the early 90s, there were stealings, embezzlement was left and right, but amounts were quite small. Come to the 2000 era, the figures started rising. Now see where we are. One person takes an amount which you cannot even think about. It is unfathomable to expect that one person will steal all those monies. You don't even know what they do with the money. So I'm not surprised. It's because there are no consequences for misbehavior in the public sector. We must make everything possible to hit any other person who steals public funds. We are not angry enough as Ghanaians. I don't think this is acceptable. We have bad roads, we have hospitals not functioning, schools not functioning, etc. A lot of infrastructure we need, and people who are put in public positions to solve these problems rather appropriate these resources for their personal use is terrible. So the amounts are mind-boggling, but I'm not surprised that is happening. And if you don't take time, one day we wake up and we are told that total consolidated fund is gone. There's no money left in it.
Oh, you fear we'll get to that point, that the total consolidated fund will be looted?
Yeah, because they have a huge percentage. You calculate the percentage that Auditor General comes out with each year. It's huge. So when you reach 100%, it means everything is gone. We will be having no money to run our schools, run our roads, run our hospitals, etc. But it is time Ghanaians become very, very disturbed. and hold government accountable and call for changes in the legal system so that we can get this done as quickly as possible. That is why, if you permit me, I will say that in my personal view, I appreciate what Attorney General and all the anti-corruption agencies are doing to hold people accountable, including filing cases against them at the courts. But there are some legal amendments, if we don't make, we are going to go nowhere. One of them is the reverse burden. In fact, if you have unexplained wealth, that should be enough for us to convict you. If Daniel is earning 20,000 a month, at the end of the year it's 240,000, assuming he doesn't even spend any money. So how come that Daniel within a year has 20 million in his account? That should be enough for us to convict people. If we don't pass those laws, and again, put a time limit on trials. If you go to Nigeria, they have made a good progress. The Supreme Court in Nigeria, based on Section 306 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, and then Section 40 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Act, has prevented stay of proceedings. They say there will be no stay of proceedings in criminal cases. So we should apply that, if not to all criminal cases in Ghana, at least to corruption-related cases. To say, once we start trying you on corruption, you can't go to a higher court and come back and tell us that stay proceedings, let me finish my appeal before you continue, so that we can bring finality. And a law must guide us. If China could convict somebody within 3 months, Ghana, we should also be able to convict somebody at least within a year. If we can't do 3 months, we can't do 6 months, we can't do 9 months, 12 months, we must be able to bring it to an end. Because until we do that, the prayer of the criminals and their lawyers is that they will continue dragging the case until there's a change in administration or government. Then you hear nolle prosequi, and then the case drops off and our money is gone. So that is the challenge we face, and I think these changes are very necessary. And since we don't only want to fight corruption in terms of monies that have already been stolen, but also to prevent additional stealing, I'm also calling that we should amend the Internal Audit Act, Agency Act, to make the internal auditors independent of the principal spending officers, so that they can provide proper assurance, not fearing that their salaries will remain the same, or they will be transferred out of their duty stations, or they will not get promotions, or they can even be sacked. We must do that. These are low-hanging fruits. That is what I mentioned the last time, that 9 months gone, and people didn't understand that I said 9 months we should receive proceeds from the corruption. No. I was saying that there are low-hanging fruits, legal amendment or changes, which can go to Parliament quickly. We pass it so to make the legal framework conducive for fighting corruption.
I see, because it's a very important point you make about the period of prosecution, because before you joined us, there had been proposals that there should be some reforms to ensure that at least 6 months, maximum 1 year, would have finished, and concluded on cases, specific cases on corruption, so that at least there'll be some speedy trial to it, instead of having cases run 4 years, 8 years. And as one of my panel members indicated, these accused persons, they have deep pockets, so they can get the best of lawyers who know how to maneuver the legal system to prolong cases. And we may never see the end of it.
I cannot agree more with the person who made the point. And then they don't, not only lawyers that they can procure, they even can procure judges. So the judge see your case so bad, and you say, okay, what I can do to help you is that I'll keep adjourning it until there's a change in government. When your party comes, then they can throw it out. So the judges can also be part of it. In fact, I think that if we cannot do the same thing like 3 months or 6 months, even let's put it at 9 months or even a year, I have no problem. But this instance of we can establish that the gentleman has in his or her, the lady has in her possession property that cannot be explained in any circumstances as related to genuine sources of income, but the trial continue going, I think is not helpful. So judges who also preach this must be guilty of misconduct, because the law says try the case, finish within a year. You go beyond a year, it should be a ground for you being cited for misconduct. so that there will be sense of urgency. But also, I would like to plead that we must increase the capacity for the justice delivery system. If the Supreme, the judiciary, they need more judges. In fact, I saw 824 or so lawyers being called to the bar. They should recruit some of them, even if it is on part-time basis. Some lawyers can become judges and start hearing cases in the evening. We don't have to all go to court at 9 o'clock and by 3 or 4 o'clock we all close. No, we must change the system. The 24-hour economy should start in the judiciary also, so that we can get part-time judges, so that they can come and sit and hear these cases, and we bring finality to them as quickly as possible. Because the fact that the money is not yet in the consolidated fund, it cannot be put to the use that the taxpayer paid for it to be put to. So the earlier, the better. It is said in the judiciary, justice delayed is justice denied. So we are being denied justice by delaying these things. And I think we should all call for this low-hanging fruit. This is the easiest thing to be done. We just need a bill to go to Parliament and a certificate of agency, and it will be passed, and you have a robust system to fight corruption, and it will bring deterrence. People will see that we are now serious, and people will not play with our public funds anymore. Thank you.
I see. But then you were one-time Auditor General, and you make this proposal of an amendment to the Internal Audit Agency Act so that auditors will be independent of the principal spending officers. There was a question that I asked earlier of why, if every year you, as Auditor General, you're responsible for auditing all of these state agencies, you put out a report which becomes a subject of conversation every year. You capture irregularities and infractions and so on. And yet you are unable to uncover this depth of infractions or malfeasance. It has to take further forensic audit and further investigation to uncover institutions that you, Auditor General, has audited. That's concerning, is it not? Because then they have to wait for after 4 years, 8 years, when there's a change in government, there's a certain level of commitment now to go into further the audit report that Auditor General has put together, which does not uncover this extent of rot in state-owned enterprises or agencies of state. Mr. Domolovo.
Thank you very much. I think I need to explain something for fellow Ghanaians to understand. If you look at the mandate of the Auditor General under Article 187, especially Clause 2, it covers not just the central government, the district, the universities, almost all government institutions. Then you go to Clause 5. It requires that the Auditor General finishes his audit and submit his report to Parliament within 6 months after the end of the financial year. So one may even think that Auditor General got 6 months. No. When the financial year ends, the Public Financial Management Act gives the ministries, department, agencies 2 months to prepare their accounts. So they take 2 out of the 6. It's left with 4. Then the Public Financial Management Act gives the Accountant General 3 months. So another 1 month added to that of the MDAs. So it is left with 3 months. So the Auditor General is supposed to audit the accounts of the entire government, from Accra to Bunkurugu to Bolga to Elebu, and submit the report within 6 months. Therefore, in the course of these audits, a lot is left. In fact, the audit is done by sampling. We don't do census. It's sampling. So he goes there and pick a few transactions, review them, and see whether they are okay. So that is why later on, when we are doing a special audit, you will see that it reveals a whole lot of things. And gladly or thankfully, Section 16 of the Audit Service Act provides that in the national interest, the Auditor General can do special audits. So that's why we do special audits. Even though we have audited the institutions, but information or intelligence shows that there is more to it, and that cannot be captured within the audit period, The Auditor General is mandated to commission special audits. That's where you find some of these things coming out and are mind-boggling. But again, let me say, the Constitution that gives this mandate to the Auditor General, the same article, Article 187, under Clause 7, also requires that the Auditor General, anytime he come across these infractions, should disallow and surcharge people. If there are no consequences for misbehavior, these abuses or infractions will continue to a level of impunity as we are seeing it today. You hear some figures and you are tempted to say, no, this is not true. But they are true. People are stealing public funds as if they have no head. And you ask yourself, what do you do with all these monies? It's because there are no consequences. So we must, as a country, put in place these low-hanging fruits by changing the legal framework, make internal auditors independent. The burden of proof moves to you, the accused. Once we can establish beyond reasonable doubt that their property belongs to you, then you must tell us how you acquired it, and then we put time limit within which these trials can be done. I think immediately it will bring deterrence in the public sector. Currently, there is no deterrence. People are not afraid. They've seen people who have done worse things and getting away with it. So they are doing it. We must change the way we are going.
If the law empowers the Auditor General to surcharge and disallow as one of the deterrents or the punishments to this misbehavior, why are we not seeing much of it?
I think you may have to call the Auditor General to answer that. When I was Auditor General, I think I was doing it. But you remember, I can hazard an opinion if you want to hear it.
I want to hear it.
Yes, I keep saying that if you fight corruption, corruption will fight you back. The accounts have a nice proverb that the tree which fruit Anansi ate and died, the child in Tikuma doesn't go and sleep under that tree. So he knows what happened to me when I was doing it. So maybe he's afraid of it. But the president, fortunately, has provided a better environment now. He has opened the door to say, let's do it. And has even called in the Chief Justice and the Attorney General and said, let's establish even specialized courts for the audit report. So I think the Auditor General should hit the road very hard. And I think that will bring deterrence. If you abuse public funds, disallow and surcharge. If the person doesn't agree, he should go to court and battle with the Attorney General once you continue your audit. I think if we go on that route, I think we shall make progress in less than 6 months. If you start seeing how they are holding ministers, directors, chief directors, etc. accountable, people will sit up whenever they see public funds. They don't like to touch it.
Mesano, Adam Sano is with us in the studio, by the way. You were saying that, yes, on the same part, you are not surprised. You just think that...
I think he shared my sentiments exactly, that I'm no longer surprised when I hear this. Because if somebody could get 27 houses in 4 years, then what is not possible? But the shock is the figures. The shock is indeed the figures, that the impunity and the boldness, the audacity appears just to be increasing. I'm just reflecting and saying, look, this Bonnie and Clyde thing, clearly, it's a reflection of the moral and ethical temperature in the country. We should look beyond just saying it's even an MPP thing and so on and so forth, and do some social research. We used to say behind every successful man is a woman. Looks like we are throwing that away. Now it's becoming very blurred and confusing. And we seem to have a culture of copycat corruption, which is being fueled by the lack of consequences, as Mr. Domrovo is saying. Copycat corruption. And you know, in our terrain, entrepreneurs, you see somebody do something, it looks like it's successful. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon. Looks like that's what's happening. Maybe on a platform, say, oh, we did it this way, it was successful. And then very soon, so many people are doing it, then it's exposed. I think that we need to do some more thinking around this kind of misbehavior. Somebody was pointing out recently that if this is what oral has shown, can we imagine what a post-tenure asset declaration audit will show? Let me see. Listen, we just last year into this year, we had a transition government. It means that persons who exited were supposed to have gone and done their final asset declaration. Is that correct?
That's the expectation.
Has anybody gone to dig into that? Do you know what we might uncover? What kind of Pandora's box that will show? So what even oral has brought us is probably the tip of the iceberg.
That's true.
The special courts thing, let me say for the record, Kenya, I was there earlier in the year, they have 12 anti-corruption specialized courts with a target of 6 months. And they are working. When they talk about the retrievables, in fact, that was for them the success. The amounts of monies they've retrieved. Because they have a clear legal framework for the bargaining out of court settlement. They have it there. And it's not just about collect some. Try and get 100% plus a fine. The fine itself might be the sanction, or else you go and do some jail term. You know. So there are examples in Africa, not outside Africa, not the US, in Africa, in Kenya, in Zambia. Target of 6 months, sitting daily. The lack of sanctions, the lack of practical sanctions is breeding impunity. So if you look at the figures have just been on the rise. Anytime you see a case, then you say, $1.6 million.
Mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. And who gets the confidence to just have the money transferred into their accounts? It's obviously because they think it will not be uncovered, or else they are thinking that by the time it becomes a public issue, they would have invested, made 100%, turned it over, so that even if you put me in jail, my money is still sitting there. And we need to think about these things. So the specialized courts for me are very important. I also think that, look, this whole issue of we are not too certain whether at the end of the day some of these cases will be seen to completion or not. Let's be patient. Let's begin to strategize. Look, we agree that you will not cover all the oral cases. How else can we deploy other agencies to make sure that these issues are looked at? At the same time, making sure that the enforcement, the examples of the sanctions, that's, I think, the major gap. And I listened to Mr. Domlov, and I think that's true. At the moment, who is being sanctioned? What are the levels of sanctions? The reason why COPO is so important. So can we get this government to seriously take up completing the COPO? Let's make sure the sanctions are clear. When we take public officers to court, there's no argument about what sanctions and how punitive they are. It will serve as a detriment.
COPO, full meaning. So I said the
Conduct of Public Officers Bill. The Conduct of Public Officers Bill needs to be revisited, completed, passed with clear sanctions. So when they get to court, there is no confusion as to what it is. And let's publicize it. I think this is a platform. Let's publicize the sanctions, because it looks like the confidence with which people are doing things now is getting totally out of. You can't just imagine it.
And publication of the assets that are declared.
Yes.
So when the public officer declares his assets, they must be published on a website. So somebody in Zwarungu or Boko can Google and see it. So that if he finds that Zato has 25 houses in Boko and 3 in Accra, and he declared only 3.
Say why Boko from Tumu? Say I see. Okay. If I'm building Tumu. Okay. I'm not building Boko. I'm not from.
So that then the person will go and.
But so I just want to find what's the difficulty? Okay, in for instance, you know that a public officer earns this much in let's say 20,000 or 25,000. And then by end of year, is there any way to track how many houses, for instance, they build, or what properties are within their name? Or we have to
verification. So that's why we've asked for in the new bill.
And that's why we are saying verification, publication, verification and publication, plus reverse burden. Don't make it the state's responsibility to come and prove that you've done something wrong. You should come and indicate to us how you were legitimately able to fund this asset and that expenditure.
Like the Siciliada power.
Exactly.
Mr. Davalogo, you had your hand raised. Let me just take this quickly. Yes, you wanted to make a point.
Yes, I cannot agree more with my colleagues in the studio. The Conduct of Public Officers Bill was in place or had been drafted before I became Auditor General in 2016. I remember early 2017, I sent some comments to be included there. As we speak today, it is still not yet an act. I can't understand. I remember Nana Akufo-Addo deceived us that he was going to give us an international standard one, and that was the end. We are now 10 months into a new administration, and we need that law. This is a low-hanging fruit. If government is really committed to ensure that public officers behave and behave properly, then we need it. The point my colleagues were making, let me also come in. For instance, I went and declared my assets when I was appointed a chairman of the YOCO. And after I declared, I said, this is a complete waste of my time. How do you say I've declared my assets to the Auditor General just by filling forms and giving to him? How can he verify that the houses are 1 or 2 or 3 or 20 on a plot? So whatever I say is the end of it. And if we think that that can help us fight corruption, then I think we are joking. We need a better law. For instance, the Auditor General is not God. So if you go to him and you say you own only 1 house in Accra, that is all. That is what he is going to take. But if it is published, then people from his village will say, but the village house building is not in the asset declaration. Then some people in Kumasi or Bolga may say, but we know Dominic has this house. He comes there. How come he's not having it there? So we need to be serious. And I've been telling people in public service who don't like this, it is not compulsory. Nobody puts a gun at your head to say that go and serve in the public service. If you can't comply with it, go into your private sector and do your business or whatever you want to do. But if you want to play the game, but then you must go by the rules of the game. That is necessary. And government must make it a point to prove to Ghanaians that there are consequences for misbehavior in the public sector. People are getting away with murder for too long. So even if you take the Auditor General's report, even administrative sanction, people don't get it. People do things and they just get away with it. Some come on TV and even they don't show any remorse. It doesn't even occur to them that their misbehavior is reprehensible. And we keep doing the same thing. And like my friend Sinanu said, they are now digging. But I said on Joy FM, and I'll say the same thing. I said, we will wake up one morning and Minister of Finance will tell us that, sorry guys, the total consolidated fund has been stolen. So there is no money for anything. Because people are stealing in proportions that you can't easily apprehend or comprehend, sorry. So I think we must get serious. There are some low-hanging fruits. The legal framework, I think, is not conducive for fighting this type of graft. We must change the reverse burden. We must limit the trial period. We must make auditors, internal auditors, independent. We must capacitate the judiciary. And we must allow the judiciary to even sit after hours. What stops a judge from starting his case at 6 o'clock or 8 p.m.? The courtroom, the building is there when the judge goes away. Another judge can come in. 24-hour economy. So if we do this, I think it will bring about sanity in the public sector. Thank you.
Great point there. Thank you. It's just there's no consequence for misbehavior. Essentially, that's what is fueling what we're saying now. Gentlemen, I'll come to you before you leave us about why you say we are not angry enough and what you want to see. So stay with me. Yes, Dr. Zato.
Yeah, Mr. Domolo, I like your back. I like the picture at the back. It looks very nice. It looks like the Eiffel Tower. Are you in Paris or what?
You want to disclose my location?
You see? Thank you.
This is not an asset. So
and I must say, thank you very much for all the wonderful work you've been doing for God and country. Let's keep it up. These things, we must keep them up. Must keep fighting. Personally, when I see these monies, I'm scandalized. There's nobody who can see these monies and not be scandalized. Because if you understand that these monies were meant for some of the most vulnerable in society, posterity will judge Akufo-Addo fairly, will be happy with him with the free justice. Posterity will say that you brought this in and it changed lives. It was a policy that was celebrated throughout the whole of Africa. But the food issue came and actually made that policy difficult to use to campaign for the MPP in the 2024 elections. Because all you had to do was just see the food, and parents see it. So in 2024, again the elections, the whole of the MPP was on the defensive on the policy that they brought that was so good. So to me, to tell me that these figures, if they were, I asked somebody, are they real? Is it like real money, or is it that the accountants find a way to come out? I'm asking, is it like you could find this money in an account?
Yeah. Well, is that, for instance,
like I'm trying to understand.
Because to the company.
For the 5-bedroom, the AG says much of it was paid with cash.
Because I'm thinking, if they imagine these monies were used to actually pay, to actually feed the students, some of them, then probably the NPP could have made some marginal gains in the last election. I'm not saying I won't, but it's possible. But like people, if parents, if a mother or a father sees that their child, because see, free justice is also a poverty alleviation tool.
Sure.
It's a poverty alleviation tool. So that if I can't feed my, at least for about 8 months in a year, the government is feeding my child well, that is a burden taken away from me. So as I said, I'm scandalized by this, and I'm also happy about it. But there's something else that has happened here that I like. The investigation of this was done in a humane way. For the first time, they didn't treat this guy like we saw. We didn't see Rambo style, run to his house, arrest him, we didn't see that. That means that it is possible for our investigative organizations to do a humane, professional investigation without terrorizing innocent citizens. And we must all condemn those kind of midnight, early dawn raids with guns and with sirens taking people away. Because this was done on our blind side as citizens. But this is what they've come out with. So let's encourage that the state should always move away from its coercive forces and use professionals in such investigations. Because again, at the end of the day, nobody's trying to cover anything. But when you rather use that, and also bail. You know, man, some of the cases, they just took the people, went and locked them up, looked like they were punishing them with bail. Again, here, nothing like that happened. So my point is, it is possible for the investigators to be professional. It is possible for them to be humane. It is possible for them to do all this while still maintaining the law, while still making sure that the right thing is done. Because in a democratic society, the process matters as much as the end product. So because the end does not always justify the means. Today I'm running away from Machiavelli. So I mean, again, presumptions of innocence, and I should bet, that's where I'll end this.
I see. But you are surprised by these figures. You thought they were not real. But then again, it sends a certain signal. And that's what Daniel Domelovo has been talking about. Why does this continue? There's no punishment for misbehavior. Why do we find it difficult to do this? Malaba, and I'll come to you, Desi.
Well, I disagree that there's no punishment for misbehavior.
The evidence is what we are seeing.
No. There's punishment for misbehavior. I know people who have gone to jail for corruption. The thing is, do we send these people to court? We don't. When you are sent to court and the court pronounces you guilty, you'll be punished. And I know people who have languished in jail because of corruption. My only problem with this buffer stock issue is, initially, when the suppliers were picketing at the offices of the buffer stock company, I thought it was just the case of delay payments, because government will always delay in payments, But to come and think about what happened to our children in school, after all these figures have been splashed here, how can somebody and the wife alone put our children to this? 2 people in this country made our children go to school, come back malnourished. It is not, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. What kind of wickedness is this? Because corruption undermines availability of food. And that's what we have seen. Corruption undermines the availability of food. And so when school children didn't have food on their table, and some were drinking cocoa without sugar, some were also on Gari diet for a whole week. I know parents who have to stir banku. Banku takes longer to spoil, you know that? So they will stir banku or buy kenke and send it to school. 2 people were the reason for this. How come? How come? And look at the kinds of things he has bought with the
alleged proceeds of crime.
Yes. How come the watch is not there?
The watch,
1.5.
So the watch, the Attorney General mentioned it. It was not listed in the document that we have. The 1.5 million.
1.5 million watch.
Crazy. Because look, as a human being, how many houses do you need? So people have stolen money to the extent that the money is now tricking them. Kufuor said that power tricks you. The money is now tricking them to use the money for properties which you don't immediately need. You don't need them immediately. You don't need them.
But you see, the explanation is that such money you can't keep in the bank. So you have to put in some property.
But Alfred,
and that's what it's...
Alfred.
If you trace and understand the illicit financial flow, you know where to look.
Alfred, everything should be done in moderation. You have stolen.
You should steal in moderation too.
Still in moderation. You have stolen.
No, what is moderation?
You have stolen.
How much of this would have been moderate?
You have stolen.
But you see, your understanding of moderation might be different.
No. The moderation is that you don't need some of the things that you have stolen and you are purchasing them just left, right, center. This watch that you bought, is it not reading the same time that my watch is reading? So the vulgar nature of the stealing too is a problem. You know? So I think that where we have gotten to, and that's why the president said that the committee that the Constitution said we should form, and then he met the Attorney General, Auditor General, and the Chief Justice. And I'm happy the conclusion there was that there's not going to be another committee because it's like the committees are too much. Yeah. It's like you are pampering the corrupt person. Yeah. Because Parliament itself is a committee of heads. They have looked into something. Then you say that another committee should look at it. And then, so I'm happy they've come to the conclusion that there will be special courts to deal with that matter of corruption. And I think that decision to deal with the matter immediately after the Public Accounts Committee has met is the right thing to do. Now, for those courts, they should see themselves as actually specialized court and not courts where you go there and there's a divorce petition on the table of the judge. Those courts should see themselves as dedicating themselves to only corrupt practices that emanate from the Public Accounts Committee. That, for me, would go a long way to fast-track some of these hearings. That people are complaining that we spend 1 year, more than 1 year in dealing with corrupt practices. So this court, I am appealing to the Chief Justice not to assign any cases to them and allow these judges to focus on just infractions and corrupt practices emanating from the Public Accounts Committee. And that, for me, will hasten and speed up the process.
Yes. There's been proposals for reform of the judicial system to help in adjudicating some of these cases faster, quicker, avoid all of these, unnecessary adjournments sometimes. I use this for the lack of better expression, because some have described this as an abuse of the courts system, asking for adjournments when really it may not be needed.
Yes, I subscribe to that position. Sometimes some of these adjournments are administrative. It could be processes. It could be that processes have been filed. There is no proof of service. And I was once at Tema where a bailiff failed to ensure that a process had been served. And when he was called upon, he failed to appear, and the judge, in his anger, had to call the registrar to produce him. He was remanded for some few days in custody. When we have judges standing up to ensure that some of these things are sorted out, ensuring that, yes, the law is in the bosom of the judge or the court, we need to see some of these things happen. Again, I also task the court managers to ensure that the management of the courts, like as we are praying for specialized courts, we need not see specialized courts dealing with land matters when it's solely tasked to sort out a particular or to cure a particular problem. We need not see other cases growing into that area, so to trump out the purpose and dilute the reason why that particular court has been put there. And also, yes, we always have case management plan that we put out there, in the course of proceedings. Most of the time, we don't see some of these things materialize. You would have lawyers say, we'll do 2 hours of cross-examination for this particular, or a trial will probably take 3 days. It ends up taking months on ending, So indeed, when the court holds the lawyer to the case management plan, that is what should. If the lawyer is unable to put himself to that particular time, that is his own problem, because the anticipation is that during the case management period, you should have an anticipation of the evidence you have, and that would influence the cross-examination time that you have proffered to the court. So that period, once it's agreed, should be the timeline. Definitely, there will be some exceptions where one will pray for leave for extension, but that the judge would have like we always say, the judge has the authority or the discretionary power, that's the word, the discretionary power to exercise that, and that must also be exercised judiciously in order to save time, so that we see some of these things happen. Because the clamor for by Ghanaians is that we want to see some of these cases convicted, so that in our minds, speedily, so that in our minds we would have people accounting to the service that they render to us, and so that it is not just a reward for party faithfuls, but yes. Once you put yourself out there to render service for Ghana, there should always be that accountability, because out of accountability, we would get the rewards that we
But
are
do
seeking
these
for.
figures surprise you as well? But
It surprises all of us, because sometimes one would say, what did I do wrong? I decided to be an accountant. I have schooled, I have masters, probably I have my PhD, but I have not seen these figures. Is it that I'm at the wrong place? All of these things come to bear, and it also finds a way of nullifying the hard work that people, or causing a disbelief that people put in work in order to achieve whatever they have probably done over the years, when they see some of these things. But when consequences come to it, then there's the belief that hard work is what pays, hard work is everything, and for that reason, I need to put it in so that my family members in society and Mother Ghana will be proud of me. But it is not through corrupt and corrupt-related matters that will get to me, or even finding my way into public service is what it is. But even when I get into public service, I should work for it. It is not that I would get into the largesse of public coffers, such that where illegality comes in, it rewards me. But what is duly mine is what I get, and I stand for Ghana. That's it.
And but again, we're not pronouncing guilt.
Can be blamed for some of these things. Societal pressures. Look, if you go into public office and you conduct yourself in a clean way, and you come back home, you are unable to, buy a house or construct a house, they see you as a failure. That's what society does. And so it puts pressure on people who are into public office to go to the next level to do the things that you are doing. They are doing, not you. Sorry. To do the things that they are doing. So sometimes too, we need to speak out and let the public also know that there is honor in going to public office to serve without amassing wealth. It is not only for people to go there, amass wealth, come back, then you see them as more successful than those who have not amassed wealth. That's also what I want to tell the people of this country.
Well, in a minute, you subscribe to that position by Daniel Domelovo that we are not angry enough in his view?
Oh, absolutely.
1 minute.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always been clear that we are not angry enough. You remember in the Kufuor's regime, with all the corruption, many lawyers turned a blind eye. It was just in the last days that when they saw me, then they would not be cheering me on. We said, look, can we organize a press conference? You find lawyers whose sons and daughters are even grown. They don't have teenage children. They say they won't speak. Oh, you like noise. You like noise. So, and actually some of them were looking to get government contracts. So they were thinking about their stomachs alone. So one thing is very clear. Our society is what it is because we are generally reticent. Okay, we are laid back about confronting government. It's improving, but the progress is slow. I think what we've learned so far is about elections. Yes, or we'll wait. When you push them, say, oh, don't worry, 4 years will come. Oh, let them eat. Oh, it won't take them anywhere. It's changing. Right. The Farmer Nyame syndrome is coming down, but it's the rate of decline that's not as speedy as a wish.
Thank you.
One last comment on the courts. Yes, so as the president said, he's going to set up those courts. Like we would say, let the numbers be more. Okay. Let the numbers be more so that it can have an impact. 4 or 5 courts would not be sufficient. Maybe at least 3 in every region. But Accra being the hub, maybe 10 in Accra, then 3 in every region. There are more lawyers who qualify to, go to the High Court. Let's employ them because we can get recoveries.
Which will mean the fashion of a tribunal, sort of? Yes. The Attorney General is working on bringing the tribunals to. Yeah, but we need to set up more courts. Because if we have more courts, then we can take on the cases. Otherwise, we'll not make much progress. Quite a number of messages. Dr. Zato has spoken as a true Ghanaian for you, for the first time on this matter of the buffer stock investigations. Thank you. This one here says, imagine if someone with the competence of Raymond Acha had not been appointed at Yoko to employ his skills of forensic audit. We have lost so much more than we know. The Auditor General's report doesn't do justice to the monies that we're losing through public corruption. And I agree with Daniel Domelevo and your guests on this particular issue. This is coming from Dr. Kwame Asante. He continues that he would also support the calls for forensic audit as a normal part of auditing of public sector accounts because of what we are seeing so far. This one here says, good morning to you and your panel. Regarding the issue of looting, how can state officials be tracked when they attempt to conceal their assets by putting properties in the names of relatives or close associates? Yes, so I think Theophilus sends us this one. Directly or indirectly. So the bill, the last one I saw, it includes spouses. But maybe if they go further to cousins, we can look at it. But the immediate family is covered. So the public officer's wife and children are covered. Yes. This one here says that how are all these monies moving through banks? Well, there's some of the monies were moved cash and purchased some of these items. But Joseph says the banks are not flagging them. Ordinary man, small transaction. Yes. The banks would raise issues. Very true. And look, you have small dollar in your account. They'll call you, ask you a tall list of questions. So how about the banks? I mean, they should be answering some questions in all of this, is it not? Oh, absolutely. Yes, citizens have raised that.
I mean, there's supposed to be a threshold above which, from the FIC and the banks there's supposed to be a red flag. If transactions in dollar and other terms beyond certain figures, they're supposed to start. Maybe you need someone from FIC, especially, because they're supposed to be linked to the banking system to look at such issues. Talk about FIC. The FIC boss, Kojo Chumbafo, is watching us now. He sent a message earlier, unrelated though. He should give the threshold. On a lighter note, yes, he would have to come and answer this question. Possibly next week we'll bring him in to answer this question. It says, on a lighter note, please tell Lawyer Matic people to stop plagiarizing Dr. Bamia's edict. What a solid team. It has been copyrighted since 2017. The MPP have perfected the art. You say husband and wife cooperatives with the hallmark of their governance. What a solid team. Thank you for but then again, you will be called in to answer some of the questions related to your office
next week. Quite a number of your messages commending the conversation this morning. I really do appreciate it. This matter, this week, the Deputy Attorney General did indicate that they had requested some documents, gentlemen, from the Office of Special Prosecutor on this kind of Kenoforiata issue. But the Attorney General eventually clarified, indicating that they have a good cooperative working relationship with the OSP on this matter. But this is what Dr. Shemsai said earlier.
Mr. Kenoforiata is a subject of a number of criminal investigations, right? I think the one that is popular is the one that the OSP is conducting. And also, that is the one that we are made to believe is in an advanced stage where extradition will be required. And indeed, the OSP has already put the person on red alerts, Interpol red alerts. What it means is that it's a notice to the whole world that this person is a wanted man. But the Interpol alert is not an extradition, procedure. So, if we really want the person to come, we need to make an extradition request to where we believe he is, which is the US. Now, this is what, and listen to me carefully on this. We are the only authority, that's the Attorney General Office, we are the only authority that can make extradition. But we need a docket from, an investigative docket from the OSP to be able to make these extradition requests. As of today, we still do not have a docket from the OSP. We have made several requests to the OSP, written letters, written demands to the OSP, asking that now that you've announced to the world that you are ready to have this person extradited, and there have been communication to that effect that even we've seen communication to the effect that the docket is ready and it's only the Attorney General that can make the. So we have been asking for the docket for a couple of, I think about 2 months now.
And so after this statement, the Office of Special Prosecutor responded that by end of week, they would have made said documents available to the OSP. And what are the documents? Let's flip and then we'll show the exact document to point 5. Point 5 says the Attorney General through the International Cooperation Unit at the Ministry examines the request to ensure the following: whether the request is legally sound and properly supported, whether the offense qualifies under the Ghana-US extradition treaty. This is the OSP giving this information, and whether it complies with Ghana's obligations under international laws and human rights standards. Ms. Anu, you say that all of this public spat was unnecessary?
Yeah, in my view, I think that,
why is that?
It should have been better managed. So I have paid attention to the chronology. Ken refused to honor his commitment. A few days before, he suddenly says, my surgery date was changed. I thought that was very unprofessional. I mean, the kind of stature and office he occupied, there are certain things we don't expect to happen. At least that information should have come earlier. So a few days to the agreed date, it doesn't show up. Yeah. The OSP obviously, on the 2nd of June, when they were expecting to meet with him, had prepared to do some more interrogation, which meant that at that point, the docket wasn't complete. They were now going to, on the 4 cases or so, ask questions, compare it with other witnesses, draw conclusions. That could have taken another 6 to 8 weeks or more, depending on the nature of the cases. But because the man hadn't showed up, they wrote on the same day, the 2nd of June, to the Chief of Staff, the government, and say that, listen, this is not a political decision. We think we should ask for him to be extradited. Because through their intelligence sources, they knew where he was. And they still do know where he is. Eventually, AG responds on the 13th, I think, and says, okay, we agree, we need you to nominate 2 people and give us the docket so that we can proceed. 7 days later, and I think all of the chronology just shows how seriously they've taken this. Within 7 days, they responded and said, these are our 2 nominees. With respect to the docket, on the 10th of June, we raided SNL, and we found a trove of other information, hard and soft and whatnot, and we need to mine that a bit. So even though at this point, we believe we have a very good docket, we want to make it excellent by doing the additional work. And so there was that collaboration and so on and so forth. I'm not quite sure why this was leaked. In my mind, it is possibly because the AG wanted to report back last week and was hoping to have some additional data, which is reasonable. I think the same way in which the AG has asked Ghanaians, he says that when he was in private practice, and we all do know, he was successful, and we agree, we commend him for that. He wants to continue being successful as AG, so let's give him time to do thorough work in our space. And I think this education we all need to do, not just the AG, all of us, including civil society and media, that investigations take time, but they must be thorough so that the rights and freedoms of people are not infringed on. Also said that when you get to court, you are sure to get the right outcomes. So let's not push things. In my mind, I think that this should not have come out. The collaboration should continue. As SP has said, I think, is it this week or next week, the information will be available. This week. Yeah, and once it's available, what we want to see, the most important thing. And I've been asking media, why hasn't we called Ofrata? Where is he? What's going on? Why doesn't he want to answer to the issues? Why is he giving us all the runaround?
Well, the numbers we know when we call, it doesn't go through. In fact, you have indicated that it's going to take quite a while, in a minute.
Yes. I mean, extradition procedures definitely takes a while. And indeed, even when Attorney General gets all the necessary information, docket and other things, and Attorney General puts in the link with to United States, Oforiatta would have the opportunity to respond to it and challenge the extradition procedures. But I mean, one of the main reasons would be whether or not he's been extradited because of political reasons, which I believe is not the case. But I mean, he will definitely have his day in court if he so wishes to challenge the extradition proceedings. Other than that, it will just follow up quite quickly. But if he's going to have to challenge it, then it's going to also take a while. So I pray that there should be collaboration between the two state agencies so that we would have a fast-track situation.
Indeed. And we started this show with Lea Matic-Bible paying glowing tribute to the late Nana Konadu Ajman-Rawlings. The others who came in later, I would want to allocate the last final message.
Thank you very much. I mean, Nana Konadu was a political gem. If you go to Tumu, just by the community center, there is a 31st December Women Day nursery there. It used to be T School, it's a nice built school. She invested. And if you saw how she carried her politics, when Nana Konadu left the NDC and formed her own party, she never said anything bad about the mothership of the NDC. She never criticized anybody in the NDC. She never went out to try to downplay the party because she knew that was where she left. That was the mothership. Maybe they had a disagreement, she left it there. She's a great woman, and I hope that other political parties, especially those who break away from the mothership, will learn from the Nana Konadu perfect example of not trying to undo or insult the party you left, because no matter what, they give you, they brought you. Thank you, may your soul rest in perfect peace.
I prayed, I gave glowing tribute to her yesterday, but I want to bring this information to you concerning the OSP and the... I'm close to both of them. Yesterday I was on phone with one of them. He said, what is happening is a storm in a teacup. And that there are indications that they are able to get all the necessary documents and then go to the US and do the extradition. And that there's no bad blood between the two of them. So I want to put that on record.
Thank you very much. And this morning I was clothed by Cobra Clothing. It's the best version of you. Give them a call on 0244 238 341. 0244 238 341 for this outfit and more. And remember, we've been talking to you about Maha Beach Resort. Maha Beach Resort, they are celebrating this Christmas season with you, and there are specific discounts for all new viewers on Keypoint. Call them on 0540 124 114. 0540 124 114. I am Alfred Ocansey. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming. Have a great weekend.